Here is my audio. Let's get this. Boom. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of this campaign, dubbed The Fallen so far. We will see what happens next. This is a big episode. They just finally got out of some horrid shit after being pursued into a hellish version of a fine dining experience. They managed to make their way all the way through everything, the twists, the turns, the little flourishes, and so on, and eventually were able to put down the chef in short order, cutting down one of the nastiest people in this part of the universe and setting back the restaurant at least a little while. It'll take a while for him to respawn and find his way back to the restaurant. So the gourmand is out of business for now, thanks to the party. They now have pushed through with some loot that they found. Magic does exist in this place, although it is scarce and very, very heavily fought over. What magic does exist is going to give you even more of an edge down here against everything else. Most things don't have it, and there's not many people who can even muster up the ability to cast spells. The other thing that happened is you found out that the little halfling person is another god, or at least the husk of a god. However, a god manifests. Maybe it's the avatar. You don't really know, but you do know that they don't seem to be all powerful down here. They definitely have the knowledge and the understanding of things that you guys might be lacking. But with that being said, I believe the last thing you guys decided to do is start pushing off towards the center tower to see about getting yourselves out of this motherfucking place and into a better situation. Right. So we are playing Dungeons Dragons. Oh, excuse me. We are playing Pathfinder Second Edition. Damn, so fucking used to saying D&D. My bad. Pathfinder Second Edition. We're playing with a few extra rules. We're doing the dual class, free archetype, all that sorts of shit. Supposed to be big damn people, right? Big damn heroes. These guys supposed to be a little bit stronger. So if you have questions about that shit, ask away. We'll go ahead and explain that stuff. Yeah. So level 4, almost level 5, I believe. Correct? That's where we're sitting. Damn near close. For writing up the thing, Brett, kudos to you. You'll get a special treat for your hard work and efforts. And we'll go from there. All right, so setting the stage, you guys are currently on the Skull Road, the path, the one road that you've seen here that's paved. Happens to be paved with skulls and bones and things like that. However, you've made your way onto this path. You've walked a little bit of ways from where you were last. You're at a good point where you can either take shelter and rest or continue forward. It's up to you. The rain is continuing. The sorrow, gross, nasty thing is continuing, but you guys have pretty much found a way to nullify most of that. It just takes a little effort on your part. Fresh water's doable. Food's doable. You have enough know-how and stuff with your shelter-making capabilities that you can. It's more time-consuming than a thorn in your side now. It just takes a bit of time to make it happen. So, I'll leave it up to you. You guys find yourselves mostly refreshed after this thing. You've had a chance to take a few bits of rest, so if you need to roll hit dice or anything like that, you most certainly can. If you need to do other things to replenish, other rituals, whatever, you have time to do that as well. We'll pick up with either you guys setting down or getting ready to step off. Your pick. Go ahead.
I do need a long rest for spell slots. Not to mention, it's been a fucking day of House of Horrors, so I think just a good rest is deserved at this point.
I would agree.
Absolutely. Okay. So setting down for the evening then, or the evening as you guys would perceive it. We will go from there. What is the camp look like that you're at? You guys describe it. It can be any sort of structure, any sort of stuff. It's just desolate, covered in the red flesh that hates. Describe the scene for me. Tell me what's going on. This is freeform. Whatever you guys want to do, you tell me what you're doing.
I imagine a house that's kind of got that brick and mortar to it, run down, enough roof to where it's mostly mostly covered, but there's definitely spots where the roof's kind of fallen in, so you kind of see the water accumulating there. Um, Mostly warm, but all we kind of hear is that pitter patter of the rain consistently. I'd just kind of be over in a corner, just kind of thumbing through that guest list that we ended up nicking from their place.
Okay.
Just kind of looking at all the names, seeing if anybody seemed more important than the others, or if any names stuck out.
Okay. Give me. What languages do you speak?
I think it's just Common Draconic. Double check the. Yep.
Common and Draconic. This is written in languages that are not known to you, but there is smatterings of Common, right? So it's a lot of different languages, but you can pick out, I'd say maybe a little more than a third of it in Common. And a lot of it is the same names over and over, and party of 10, party of 15, and then there's a note saying the theme of the experience. It's like horror, sacrifice, the longing for home, thing like just very existential bullshit, right? Like things like that, and then it just has a dish list of like the different dishes, and they're all equally morbid and disgusting and things like that. But they all have like a vague connection of the theme that he's trying to go for, and it's very much a stretch, but you can see how it is. And some of the things you read, you're just like, that's a very long stretch. As far as names and people standing out, you can see the names, but they have no meaning to you. They have no like real. You don't know who they are. None of them strike a pose. The only one you see that does kind of pop out is simply has the moniker the General, or just General in front of it. So General Marcus is all you hear, or all you read. That really stands out. That's the only real name that pops. Everything else is just kind of gee whiz, but that one does seem to have a lot of clout. The other languages, you can pick out same kind of stuff, just you don't know what it says. But there's a few other individuals on there that look like they've been repeat customers or something along those lines.
I'll just kind of look across the room and be like, Slaw, you say you know this place. Who's this General Marcus? I'll just kind of hold the book out.
Give me a lore check.
You're still muted.
Yeah.
You muted Discord.
He did it.
Oh,
Audio testing, sorry.
Be a bit quiet.
you're coming in low for sure.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'll adjust that in just a minute.
No worries.
Had to quiet it for forest screams.
I'm about to turn you up, and then you're gonna turn yourself up, and then you're gonna talk. It's gonna blow my eardrums out. Let's see what we roll. All right, a total of 13 for Underworld. The General. You've heard of several gangs and things like that, and some of them have military motifs and themes. The largest you've heard of does have an individual, General Marcus, at the leadership front of it. He's one of 3 generals, actually. They call themselves the Hangmen. They are a group of individuals that is just literally a freestanding militia that will go to anywhere given the price, right? So more like a mercenary company. But they have 3 generals. One is Marcus, the other one is Avery, and the last one is Shonda. And the 3 of them kind of lead this group of mercenaries that are pretty feared. So if you see the Hangman, which, I mean, the thing they have around their neck is usually some sort of rope or something, is like almost a tie. their banners and things that they might be able to create would have a noose on it, so on and so forth. Very thematic, very put together.
And do I know one to be more worse than the other, or one to fear more than the others?
Marcus is by far the celebrity and the most known. He is definitely a gross individual, very ferocious in battle. You believe him to be an orc.
So I'll explain all that to you. I'm still not familiar with how to heal with hit dice and Pathfinder. What do I do?
I believe Greg and Nick are the experts on the rests and stuff. Pretty sure you just have your hit dice and you can roll them to regain hit points.
You can click
I
the
don't think we
button.
get. I don't think we get hit die as far as short rest goes. That's what you have to do medicine
Oh.
checks for, or
Right,
like
right.
that in this edition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
You
we're
do that
doing
during
a long
Medicine
one, I believe,
Mass.
right?
Yeah. So during that, you've got rest for the night and daily prep. Those buttons are at the top.
Little button.
Yeah,
There you
they're
go.
right under your HP. The little
Right.
bed and the cup.
But it won't heal me back to full, right? I still have to
No.
get
no.
bandaged and
I think
So you got
that. I
4
think
HP
those
for it.
buttons will do it.
Yeah.
As far as
Uh,
what
you-
regen is.
then you guys would see that Slaw is he is trying his best to hide his wounds, but not doing a very good job. There's just spots that seem to keep bleeding.
And you
Oh.
added that 15 I added at the end of the last session.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
So,
then I
yeah.
cast this on you.
Spell work going on. Slow down.
Hold
Slow down.
I know,
so
pumping the
much.
Holy shit.
Overheal.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna pop him like a sausage. He's got too much hips in there.
Well,
Well-
plus static
And,
8 on top of that as well.
Yeah. So you got 10 there.
It's not
How you
bad.
looking?
I'm at 45,
Out of.
Okay. Here's
66.
Another one. Okay. Plus another 8's another 12. There you go.
Okay.
Long rest should do most of the rest.
He only got 4.
You already got 4 off of it, yeah.
Oh, that'd be plus another 8 though. So.
Well, it's okay because I can, I could see my
Treat
orcish brother
wounds, yeah.
struggling a little bit, and he's, hurt. And I would just mention to him, and I know he's talking, but I would mention to Slaw that you shouldn't be so rough on your body. I know that's an orcish and brutish way. I am one myself, but my elven side of me shows maybe a little bit more tender care. And then I would cast, obviously, treat wounds on you with my thing. So you can have a little. Jeez, these rolls are really bad. I'm not gonna lie. These rolls are really bad, but it's just tender care for my orcish
Pretty sure
brother.
John put in a bad rolls add on for us.
I would have if
Mods
the
on.
server was up, but I couldn't. So no, I wouldn't do that. I'll just let the dice tell the story as they want you to not have full hit points going into the next part.
Yep.
Saw would look at you up and down and just be like, I can tell you know how to control yourself in battle, as your body has no story to tell. I don't know if you can see, but I've survived many a fight and earned many a scar that has followed me to tell my tale.
You know, that's a very interesting dynamic I didn't think about. I like that as that's the orc's thing. Look at my story as my body. What happens when your body gets reborn without any of those scars? Is it a new story, or like what do orcs down here do?
So, as part of Slaw's personality, he an understanding of where he is and what inevitabilities there are. That's a large reason of why he's been the first in combat as much as he can be. That's why he's, oh, well, I'm just going to go do the most insane thing ever, like jump in front of this orc's face and go crazy, so that he can take the hits and have a story that's written on him. And that's why he is constantly seeking living a balance of, I can have this impressive life story that's written all over me to tell, or I can just be naked as a newborn and have nothing to show for it. And I would like to think that there are some scars from some things that are down here
You have,
that
yeah.
have stayed.
So when you are reborn, you'll have stuff that you had before you died in the real world. Those will be reprinted on you, but anything you get in here goes away. So it's like a very interesting dynamic, especially if you're establishing that orcs tell the story with their body. I like that, because then that's a weird thing, because it's like, oh, I'll reset. Like, you can like fuck around with people, like, I'm gonna reset your story. You don't get that shit. Like, I'm
dying for Slog
stuff.
has been an insult, a huge insult every single time. So especially when it's been to stupid shit like, slipping on a rock and falling down a crevasse, or
twisting your ankle and starving to death, drinking bad water or something like that. Yeah.
What a story to tell.
Yeah. That's fucking shitty. That's just a cool little offshoot thing that I didn't think about, that I fucking love. That's a great thing, because I think like the ogres and giants and like the mongrel style giantkin that are down here are gonna do. That's very much them too. So probably some of the goblin tribes. Okay. So you're bedding down for the night, correct? That was the plan.
Just during all that, I'll went up to Horus and I'll just be like, in my time they called this for the ritual peacocking.
I'll look over at you and be like, well, didn't really work that way in my tribe, but to each their own.
Okay. So, for the three of you who are the main cast, so Griffin, not you for right now. I will ask you the same question. But for the three of you, as you go to bed tonight, as you lay down on your shifts that you're watching, if you are watching, a few things are going to take place. And we'll go round robin, and you guys will tell me one thing, and then we'll go around again and you'll tell me the other. First thing that happens, as you guys are bedding down, the halfling, Vesper, she puts together a concoction. So she uses some skills to cook. She makes a small, like, basin full of water, some ingredients that she has, and you can all see very, very ritualistically or very deliberately, however you want to look at it, she cuts her wrist a little bit, just a little nick to bleed, and puts some of her own blood in the drink. Right? Not a lot, like just a literal few drops, like just a little bit here. Bandages herself up, lets the stuff do, boils it slightly, brings it to a little simmer, lets it froth up and boil, takes it off, and divides it up and gives one drink to everyone in the group, including Sleep, who immediately declines, and she nods. The three acolytes you have following you, Abaddon gets one. Slaw, you get one as well. But my biggest thing is, are you three going to partake in this drink? No one has to take it. She just offers it.
Without hesitation.
Does she explain herself why she's giving us this drink?
Do you ask?
I do.
So, she'll talk to you, and she talks very quietly. Does anybody try to listen in? Or do you just let her talk to him?
I would totally want to listen.
Perception check. How obvious are you making it? It's stealth or perception?
Oh, I'm making it pretty pretty blunt.
Yeah, like,
'Cause
I'm
he
okay,
asked the
you're like,
question, and I'll be
"Oh."
like, "Yep."
Okay.
like we're all sitting around a table or something like that. Like it's not like they're in some separate room. We're just watching her talk at this point.
Okay. So as you all do that, and you can see Sleep can see you guys are all gathering interest. He just simply says, "Do so with caution," and he says it in his monotone thing. But he says, "The choice is yours to make." And Vesper gives him a nod, and she says, "Do you know about blood alchemy? Have you heard of this practice? Anybody who has Arcana trained has heard of it. Anybody who does not have it has not heard of it." She explains, "It's a thing that you can do with blood and certain ingredients that can have the potential to unlock memories and things like that." She says, "I believe you are twin-souled. This may unlock memories from either of the souls." And then Sleep says, "But if you are an amalgam soul, one that is pushed together from lots of pieces, this may be detrimental." So, she offers you the drink, and she can clarify anything you might have. But she basically says, "I would offer you this as something you can do to maybe find out some more about yourselves. Because it seems some of you are curious in the way you act and do things." So she just offers it all to you. So, round robin, Nick, Greg, Brett, y'all take the thing during your rest. If there's other things you want to do before you bed down, let's do that first. I'll just establish that so that you have that drink.
I have the drink, and then I want to take the time to try to see if I can understand anything more about my broken hilt.
Okay, cool. Let's do the broken hilt. Abaddon drinks the drink too, so he just
cool.
instantly he's like, "Ha, ha, ha, you don't get a choice, fucker. I'm gonna do this." So he downs that shit.
Okay.
So you three are doing that. You're gonna learn about your hilt. So let's do some rolls on that. Anybody else doing anything?
The only thing I wanted to know is from where we're at in the shelter, do we have clear sight of the tower we're trying to reach at this point?
Since I let
know
you
it's
guys
phased out.
describe exactly where you're at, sure. If you would have picked a place where you could look out a window and see the tower, there's absolutely the tower.
So I know the only thing I would do besides the actual resting on my sidebar would be I would scout the tower. I know we're far away, I know we're days out, but I'm scouting for creatures that frequently fly around it. I'm sure I can't see the ground that well, but like, movement on the side. I'm looking for patrolling. I'm looking for if anything changes on the tower, if there's any flame or change, like elemental changes,
Okay.
anything like that through the time that we're there, not sleeping. That's
And
all.
you're doing that by observing it over time.
As best as I can from this far. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have you give a perception check, and you can have a +2 to it as you're sitting there and doing it over time. Okay. And then I'll describe what you see. Greg, were you doing anything, or just chilling, getting your spells back and chilling?
I'm thinking about it right now. So
Okay, cool. And all right, so Nick, let's get your roll, and we'll start with you. What did you have, Griffin? I saw you getting a little.
I just want to, even though, like, this part of the scene isn't for me, I just want to establish, Slaw is constantly now guarding the halfling, so he's never more than 5 to 10 feet away. He's established a point that he is going to be near her at any given time, and will only leave upon her request.
Okay. She actually welcomes you in very. Oh yeah, come on, sit by the fire. It's nice and warm. Something about a goddess of like the hearth and family. She doesn't really push people away. She's pretty receptive to that. All right, so Nick with a 25 crafting check. All right, so you're trying to determine what exactly? Just more about the hilt, what it is, things like that.
Yeah, it kind of always feels like there's a little piece of it that keeps eluding me.
Okay.
Since it will, like, the ghostly form of it will kick in, but I can never get it to fully understand what it is.
Okay. So looking at it, it's poorly kept hilt of a sword. The sword itself seems to be pitted and patinaed. With a 25 check, you can know that the blade itself is silver. It has silvered properties, and as you look at it, you can see it's a strong metal core around a silver, like a thick silver edge, pretty much. So the core would give it strength. The silver would give it whatever properties silver would be used for in fighting. Monsters have vulnerability to silver. Makes sense. Also, ornamental. Sure, you plate it in silver to make it look shiny. The runes are carved meticulously. They have incredible depth to them, so they're not just like surface etchings. It's deep, so it goes into the blade very deeply. But they're still patinaed and worn and things like that. Full tanged blade, so the parts of the handle that are still there, still potent, right? They're still good, they're covered. But the parts that are kind of cracked or broken allows you to see in. Full ass tang, so it goes all the way through. And then the pommel on the end, which is a little loose and banged up. Probably ornamented at one point, but it's been so beaten at this point and probably used to knock things down and open that whatever ornamentation it has is kind of rubbed off and gone. You can tell with a 25 as well that this was a longer blade. A little bit longer than a standard like broadsword, longsword. Shorter than a greatsword. The thinness of the blade probably lends it to like a bastard sword, something along those lines. Or a hand and a half, whatever you call it. The handle itself is short for a hand and a half sword, but you think it would just take someone with strength to wield it. However, silver's pretty light, so kind of takes away some of the heft of the blade by having it be silver. What other things specifically are you looking for? If you're looking for the magic portion of it, you can tell that where that magic is either folded into the metals or it's those runes specifically, or maybe a combination of both.
Can I figure out what the runes specifically are?
That would be more arcane or religion or something along those lines.
Okay.
Because crafting, you can tell how they're made. I'm going to say, yeah, they're deep cut. They're very, very well made. The channels are there. They look wonderful. But looking for the magic. 20 on that. Arcane runes of some nature. I would say you would also, with a 20, you'd probably be able to determine necromantic. There's force of life and death that it's beseeching and calling. You'd need the full set of runes to make it, and
Right.
that part of the blade is gone. You do know, you've seen the ghostly form of it exists in that kind of teal energy that the runes give off. So if you could somehow figure out how to summon that or complete it, you'd be able to see the runes more completely. You think there might be a way. If it flares up, maybe it's the circumstance that caused it to flare up, and if you could figure out what the circumstance is, you could make it happen again. Magic's predictable like that, especially life and death, right? There's a cycle, there's laws. You think if you can poke it the right way, it will produce that. Just got to figure out what that way is.
Okay.
But yeah. Okay, and then Brett, as you look at the tower over the course of a couple hours, a couple things are noticeable. One, due to the storm that kind of is permeating the area, you can't see the top very well. You get a little bit of distance and a little bit of height, but the cloud cover here is there. Through that cloud cover, you can still see the glow of the tower, because the tower is wrought iron or steel or something, and it has cracks and fissures of molten hot metal kind of exist in it, right? Aerial patrols, non-existent. You can't see that well that far, but nothing big enough for you to see exists. You have not seen anything flying here. No birds, no insects, nothing. You've seen maggots crawling on people and the ground and things like that, and you've seen people. You haven't really seen a lot of avian anything. In fact, the only thing you saw that had wings, I don't even think you saw it. I think someone else did. They saw the invisible imp. That was it. It was the only thing that you've seen that has wings. The other demons you even saw were hellhounds, and they the ground. Patterns of things moving along the road that you can see all the way there. You can see movement, but it's far off in the distance, and it's sporadic. No mass formations, so it's either small groups that patrol, or passing other groups like you guys, or the occasional lone wanderer trying to survive somehow. You definitely see people running from groups. You see people get murdered on that road far in the distance. You can hear the screams and see the rocks come back with a crimson streak flying through the air, things like that. But nothing like there's a troop formation, not this far out. But you do note those things. It's almost, you don't see, there's no windows, there's no doors, there's nothing like that. It's almost more of an obelisk than a tower. A tower, you'd expect there to be a ways to go up and down. This, you don't even see a way in. All right, Greg, did you figure out what Voth is doing or no?
Yeah, so I got two different things. First, I'll kind of go to Slaw, and I'll ask him, you mentioned this general, his services could be bought. Do you know what currency he takes? There's many different things that one could be paid with down here.
Do I know of how he can be persuaded outside of combat or legiancy?
Give me a lore check, but it'll be real hard. And 25 or better. One of those things, if you knew how to deal with him, you'd probably be aligned with him. Kind of thing. He's usually a steamroller, not a party bus. You don't really deal with him. He deals with you after being
He's
paid.
not easily bought or persuaded.
Good to know. Thank you. And then I'll follow that up with, so just out of curiosity, so Sleep has obviously been spending a fair bit of time with Vesper. Is it constant side by side at every given time? Do they ever separate?
Oh yeah, they're constantly moving apart and back together. Sleep's actually pretty. It's mostly he's in his spot doing his thing. He's been very stoic and only does what he has to do. Makes sense. He's Sleep. Where Vesper is bubbly and she'll bounce to the hearth, walk around, check on people, do this kind of stuff. In fact, if you guys didn't bandage each other, she would have bandaged you too. She would have tried to give you some medical attention as well. But like, yeah, she's bouncing around. So if you wanted to catch Sleep alone, it's doable.
I'd kind of approach Sleep at some point. I'm not really caring too much if he's alone or not, but just was curious on that. And I'd just kind of sit down and I'd be like, so, I know I spout words of grandeur of being a dragon and such, but obviously, I'll just kind of look at myself. I'm still but a whelp. You've been down here for a long time. Obviously, other than the combat and trials and tribulations of this place that can gain me strength, but what other ways would you recommend me somehow gathering the strength? Knowledge? Training? Does any of this exist down here that would be useful outside of our current circumstance?
And you're asking Sleep this question, correct? This place contains the limits of mortal depravity. There was a tactic you wanted to learn that involved having no grace or goodness to it. It exists here. This is a place of survival. If you lack those skills, you will definitely hone them here. This is a place of mental anguish. In the face of mental anguish, one breaks or builds fortitude. all of these skills are things that will be apparent in time. Because this place will forge you into the perfect tool that hell needs. Or it'll break you into the parts that are usable, the other tools. I'm not certain, but I think every time one is reborn, a small bit of who they are is siphoned away. Not a lot, but just enough that you will eventually become the worst version. He corrects himself and he says worse. He says, the most lethal, self-fulfilling, cautious, and vile version of yourself. You will go through no small feat to protect you and your interests if you stay here long enough. I'm even in that same boat.
And earlier, she spoke of dual souls versus an amalgamation of souls. Is there any some way of knowing? I've had memories a bit of one life, but I've yet to really remember much of a second or even others.
He says, what do you know of mortal souls?
I believe in my time they were not the way you guys speak of them. They are something that is tangible, something usable. I came from the future where, these things, dragons and such, they were heard of but not seen, or were very secretive. These souls, they were things in fantasy books and things that did not exist. So I'd say I do not have much knowledge of a soul as you speak of it. The way I guess I would define it would be the true essence of a singular person.
When you say future, you can see he almost smirks. Your people prided themselves on knowledge, sciences, correct?
Indeed.
An object in the prime material plane, or in the universe, as you would call it, has a few things that are always true, correct? Its mass, its position, its energy.
Fundamental sciences, yes.
The bigger and more potent the thing, the more essence it had, and the more it would bend that world around it. Get close to a star, gravity and time change. Close to a black hole, different. It says that concept is present in every mortal being. The imprint, the push on that world, is this place where the soul is. But it's not in your world. You see a plane, a single plane. The multiverse, the world, the universe is not a single plane. It's planes on planes on planes. It's stacked dimensions and realities. Your soul is on a higher plane than what the material plane. But it connects you to both. It's what creatures like myself and the ruler of this place seek. Whereas you seek your fellows, companions amongst your kind. The soul is what we seek. Some see it as currency, some see it as duty, others see it as just nature. A dual soul would be someone whose singular point in space pushed harder than normal. So it had a deeper impact. And it drew in others, right? So that there would be two of them in one spot. Dual soul. It has enough space for both of them to flourish, but they exist in the same place. In this case, it would be a body. That's usually the vessel for a soul. Singular creature. It says an amalgam would be what happens like if a star goes nova. It still has large chunks, but of what degree autonomy does those chunks have? Who can say? But a person who has that same gravity can pull these bits and pieces. In this case, it's not a star, but other souls that get scattered and broken and don't go exactly to the places they should go. They aren't collected by things in a positive spin or a negative spin, it says. They're collected by things that have a neutral spin. An amalgam. He says, does that make sense?
I think I understand. With the dual soul and the amalgam soul, would that mean that the, I guess, original point, the more significance that soul had would be what would envelop whether it is a dual versus an amalgam?
Shakes his head. Says, the reasoning behind why these occurrences happen aren't even fully realized by some gods. I am not certain. It doesn't fall into the purview of what I once was guardian of. Perhaps the god of knowledge would know. If it is a known thing, they would know. Other, more versed individuals would know as well. He then says, I only cautioned you and brought those terms up because the blood alchemy will allow soul to remember what it was before. You try to waken up all those little pieces. It's a lot of extra voices in your head. You're already under a lot of stress. Could break you.
And you said that each god would, or greater creature would see these souls differently. I take it you saw yourself as more of a steward, a guardian. Or is it currency to you like it is others?
He looks at you and he says, I had no need for anything like that. Almost all mortal creatures visited me in my realms. I didn't need to collect. I just was able to enjoy the presence of them when they were worshipping. He says, that was enough for me. I'm not greedy. There are some of my creations and failed children that might seek those souls out in my realm. I do my best to lock them away, keep them hidden.
When we sleep now, do you feel visited like you did before? Is that all different now?
He shakes his head. I don't feel my connection to the divine any longer. Not here. I know it exists, much like your imprint on the prime material has a thing. I have an imprint as well. It just does not start in the prime material plane. It starts in gray.
I take it there's none of those offshoots that will take us there, huh?
The gray does not reach out. Heaven and hell, the high heavens, Infernus, they have their tendrils. They're always trying to pull, to gain push away things that don't belong to take things that do, or at least how those realms see that. In this case, Infernus pulls the darkest, most evil, chaotic creatures, whereas the high heavens pull the most ordered, good creatures. The Grey cares not for either. We, in fact, ship off most of the souls that end up in our place. You are called to other duties.
And finally, should we get to this tower and decide it's too much of an obstacle at the time, how much worse would this route through this Gehenna place we've heard of be?
Gehenna would be like shooting dis like a drug directly into your veins. The madness that it would induce, if you could endure it, would be incredibly potent. But brief. You did not break and were able to continue on the course and follow through. You could take the path through Gehenna out. Gehenna is not kind to mortal creatures, especially those with any weakness in their will. One false step, one whisper listened to, one howling crag fallen next to will seep its way into your psyche and pull you apart.
So if you, as you said earlier, part of gathering the strength of this place, or strength from this place, would be enduring it. That would be the ultimate test.
He nods. He says, "Believe me, I have had the same thought." You get the impression that he may have tried to go through there at one point.
You've given me much to ponder. Thank you for your knowledge.
Out of game, kind of get the analogies of
Yeah.
dual soul. Okay, cool. It's just you got a dual, a binary A/B soul, or you have a soul with a bunch of bullshit that might fuck up because it's trying to listen to 85,000 fucking memories instead of just two. Like, I could differentiate. But anyway, all right, cool. So first things first, as you guys bed down, you drink the concoction she brews. It's basically like a frothy tea. Almost tastes like has some sort of milk in it, but you didn't see her put milk in it. It's got something in there that kind of comes up. It gives it a, not sweetness, but just a texture that you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of not bad. It's not horrible. Like a milk tea, but just not you're like, it's better if I don't ask questions. Drinking that, you will fall asleep and you will do your thing. First question. I will ask and then I will have you answer. So Nick, do you want Condry or do you want your other soul?
Don't you mean Greg? Greg's
Yeah, I'm Condry.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Nick, do you want Avery or do you want your other soul?
The other soul.
Okay. I want you to tell me two things about this soul. If they were an adventurer, what class are they? Right? You're making this up, right?
Okay.
Additionally, were they good or evil? Okay? You all will have that same question. Okay?
What class are they?
Greg, do you want Condry or the other soul?
Dad, what if I want option C potentially?
What's option C?
What? Is it possible for us to be an amalgam soul?
Could be.
What if I was one of those instead, and now I've got some massive negative repercussion because I totally just drank the blood without knowing there's repercussions?
Okay. So I take it you're not taking Condry, you're taking option B. And
Well, so I
and
imagine
you're
that
like, maybe it's option C.
yeah, so I'm thinking it's more of like Condry's kind of been the dominant, and then whatever these others are, and now either like multiple kind of pop up or whatever you want to do with that. I'm thinking that's the route I'll probably go.
Okay. All right, and then so we'll get back to you in a second because I'm gonna roll it. Actually, we'll have you roll a dice. Roll me a D100.
Oh no.
How many hit points do you have?
Exactly 48.
You are at 0 and dying. You take 1
Jesus
point of damage.
Christ.
You thrash and rage and flail, and you all are in a deep sleep, and you don't hear this. Slaw, you hear this. You see this. You are fairly, at this point, you've remembered enough things about your past life that you either care about it or you really fucking don't. You've kind of be like, I'm here. It's not getting any better. My only goals are find a fucking pillar of flame, have a vacation. Like, see what I can do outside there. Because it doesn't get much better. You see Voth just flailing in his sleep, thrashing. You hear bones snapping. You hear the sounds of wet smacking as he is smacking his head so hard against the concrete and stone floor here that it's bleeding. He is seizing. He's having a full kicking chicken, full crazy, call the paramedic seizure. Not good. You can see the individual who gave him the tea walks over, bandages him up, holds him still, kind of puts him on his side, kind of puts some things around him so he's not smashing into stuff, but he is fucked. Greg, you're no longer dying. You have 1 hit point.
Sweet.
You've been tended to. Oh, where's mine? I want to kiss too. With that being said, Brett, you drink the tea. Column A or column B? Do you want Viridian or do you want the other soul? Or
Pick C, die with me.
or potential a lot of souls?
Not gonna do that. No, I think I'm good on that part.
I was gonna roll random for who might be an amalgam, but Greg's like, I'll jump on the grenade. Give it to me.
He just nominated himself as Tribune, so that's fine.
Mhm.
Which is fitting. Let's go option B. I mean, for me, kind of,
Okay.
flexible, baby.
All right, so same thing as Nick.
Yeah.
If that other creature, the other person you're attached to, was an adventurer, what class, and are they good or bad?
Wow. And it could be
Anything.
class.
Any
and it doesn't have to be related
absolutely
to our current.
anything that this other class
Okay.
is what it is. Okay. Slaw, as the other two are sweating heavily in their sleep, they don't thrash as bad as Voth does, but they are definitely having some sort of struggle. Right? They're not sleeping well. They're tossing and turning. It's not really great. You even hearing the wet thwack of Voth's head against the stone woke you up because that was like ugh. But you can even see the other two are sweating profusely. They're not not getting restful sleep. It looks like. The 3 acolytes are pretty much fine. They don't happen to have a dual soul, so there's no kickback from them, and definitely not amalgams, so they're definitely not doing that. But they seem to be sleeping deeply. You drank it as well, or no? Okay, yeah, you're super sleepy. You're just like, oh wow, fucking Voth be busting his shit open, man. Okay. You can either stay up or go back to sleep. It's your choice, but
The struggle that I see, excuse me, the struggle that I see Ondel to have, I know you said it's not nearly as aggressive as Voth's is, but does it seem discomforting? Does it seem like he's having a hard time?
oh, yeah, he's
Okay.
definitely.
Then I would go to Ondel's side, and I would just do warrior-esque orc-like ritual just for safe passage in his dreams, whatever that may look like or be, seeing that he's having a hard time in his sleep. And it's similar to Voth, but he's not traveling nearly as hard a road. So
you move over to him and you see him sleeping. His gear's on the side, things like that. You take his axes and you put them one at the head, one at the feet. You kind of walk around him a few times, say some, warrior prayer kind of things. Guide me in battle. Everybody say it for him. Guide him in his battle. A warrior shouldn't be without his weapons, so you place him at the head and the feet so he can reach them, right? You do all this stuff. And although you might not have done anything, you feel better about it, and might be. I like that. I like that little I'll help the orc half of my brother out. So.
Yeah, and especially since he's only half orc, after I'm done, I'll also piss on him just for that elf half.
Okay, straight urine. Just a lot of pee-pee, a lot of piss smell. That's disgusting. It's also very orc ritual. Just pee on them while they're sleeping. Okay, that's gross and on brand for being in hell. So 10 out of 10. Okay, so as you guys all thrash through the night, and some of you worse than others, Nick. Second question. Tell me one thing about this creature that this other person who you are. One good thing they did in their life and the sin that damned them to hell. Brett, you have this very similar question. I'll let you guys think about that since you have to be writing this. And we'll go to Greg, and we'll deal with Greg's bullshittery. So, Greg, this works out very well. I had an idea of each one of you if you rolled the amalgam. Would have been really sad for Brett. Would have been really, 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 really sad for Nick. And it would have been really chaotic for you. So, this is great.
It felt like the second the option was on the table, I was like, this feels fitting for everything that's been going on so far, so...
You get flashes of visions that are brief, moments, seconds, right? And then it flashes violently to another thing. You having the talk with sleep. Imagine this as a lucid dream. You're watching all of these things, but you're also experiencing them. So you're watching, and it is very lucid, and you can move around and do this stuff, but imagine it flashing in your eyes. Whatever you're looking at, whatever you're seeing and trying to manipulate is fucking in your face for a second and then gone. And then another thing is in your face and gone. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these. It feels like there's actually 48 now, but thank you for rolling that 100. That's pretty.
I had a feeling that's what
that
I was
is
rolling for.
Incredibly baller that you rolled exactly your hit points too, like you said.
Yeah.
Fucking guys, the dice tell the story. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
it's what
really
it is.
does. Holy
It's
shit.
absolutely perfect. Even if it like blew you fucking apart, like you rolled 100 or some shit, I'd be like, you would have been at 1 hit point. You would have been like. But people would have been hearing you like die, and then she would be like, "Oh god," just straight dying.
Two layers of bandages instead of one.
Yeah, she spits on him first. That's what she does. Okay, but these images are of a very specific, very, very potent thing. It's a war. It's violent, bloody battles. It is disturbing and horrid because the battles aren't between skirmishing soldiers on a field. They're not knights and pikemen and crossbowmen or, artillery guys and infantry guys and space fighters and shit like that. It's between massive beasts. Huge draconic figures. absolutely ridiculous. There are two things you pull from this. One, all the images you see are of dragons that you looked at the book and you saw, oh, this is the symbol of Tiamat, and you pulled a little things like you pulled the base thing, oh, there's good dragons and bad dragons. It's both sets of dragons coming after the memories that you have. So all of these creatures are being killed by dragons, both types, all types. You could see reds and greens and whites and blues and golds and silvers. And the things you do see in reflection of who you are, the things you are: purple, orange, steel, yellow, gray. The violence that they enact upon the souls that remember is tremendous. It is without mercy, and it is abso-fucking-lutely terrible. If you had to pick between the two, the chromatic dragons, so non-metallics, is worse. It seems sinister, personal. Whereas the other one seems like it's business, like before. The chromatic dragons definitely are taking out a vendetta against these souls. But that's what it is. Those are the pieces that remember those violent, horrid things. Thinking about some just general magic knowledge that you know. Those are the shards of personality and people and things that get left behind that do things like spawn into ghosts and wraiths and specters and things that have unfinished business that is very, very not good. And they are just swirling around your other soul, which happens to be Condry, who's probably the only person strong enough to take and hold these motherfucking things and put them in line. How well she's doing, don't know. But that strength of that soul almost radiates out to capture those violent, nasty things and contain them in an orbit.
She had practice with 4, now I just gotta do 12 times that.
I didn't think about that, but that's even funnier.
That's the other reason why I was like, technically we could already say I've got 4 of those souls to find.
Don't feel any mage souls attached to you, knowing the history of Ex-Condry, but you do feel that all of those other things are towing the line for the other soul. It's cohesiveness, its order is what's keeping those violent shards in line, pretty much. But what it means, you're not certain. It's a lot of things that you just don't understand. That might give you enough to go off of. Who knows? Nick, we'll start with you. What's the story you're telling for your other soul? What's the thing he did the best? What was his best moment?
It's kind of hard to say. What he would consider to be a best thing, it was following more or less what his teachings were. Slay the weak, pillage, purge, strong, stand alone. So, enacting what his master or masters always wanted was something he took pride in. Destroying villages and razing cities, that was his strength.
And what is the sin that got him damned to hell? Already sounds like he did a lot. But what was the single what was the single most wretched thing this creature did that damned?
He turned on those that he was most loyal to.
There's a whole layer of hell for betrayers, so yep, that makes sense. Unfortunately, you didn't get that far. You got stuck in the second. But, all right. So, this other soul you're attached to is some sort of warrior despot. Some nasty, horrible person who even betrayed his own ilk. Does that mean that's who you are? It's entirely up to you to determine. Now you have a direction. You have Avery Varath, who, what little you know of him is that he was trying to do something, and he wasn't able to succeed. But he was generally a good person. Learned individual. Stood up for what he believed in. And this other person that was an anchor or a fuel for the souls to merge is the exact opposite. He's out for himself, hates everything, fucking loves all the things that Avery didn't. So you have a very black and white kind of connection between those. Cool. We can work with that. Brett, what is Ondol? What does he think of the other half? What is their greatest moment?
Okay. Greatest moment or good. The
Oh, stand by 1 second. What was the
Yeah.
class, Nick? I forgot that. I forgot to get that.
Kind of hard to say. You could call him a paladin. You could call him a warlock. But something gave him the juice that he needed to bend those to his will.
Can't call him a zealot though.
No Z words.
Right.
So we don't say that in this house. so it's banned.
I refuse. I will use that word every time.
Pick one.
Paladin.
Are you trained in religion?
Yeah.
You are now the next step up. So you go from trained to whatever the next, I think it's expert, is it?
Expert. Yeah.
You are now an expert in religion. And you can draw upon the dark fucking knowledge of whatever that other person is.
All right.
All right, Brett, now let's go to you. What does Ondol think is the other half of this thing? First, what's the class?
Sorcerer.
Ooh, like, all right, a sorcerer. Okay.
Okay. And I labeled as good.
Okay, so a good person, a good sorcerer.
Right.
Okay.
I guess
I took yours was evil, right, Nick?
Well, so this is where I wanted that fine line. So
well.
he could have been evil.
He perceived
Or he
himself
could've been
as
good.
though. So he's more of a lawful evil than
Yeah.
and
that's what I was thinking.
he fell into his. Okay, so that's why he's in hell. Makes total sense. All right,
I
sorry.
think the part that he betrayed the others was because he tried to defend somebody that he probably shouldn't have defended.
I like it. Okay. All right. Now, Brett, a good sorcerer. What was their best thing they did in life? Or the thing they're most proud of or love?
Right. I think that the biggest practice of their life was they never told a single lie
Absolute truth.
from birth. Never told a lie.
Impressive.
Yeah. To anybody. Friend, foe, doesn't matter. A lie was never told.
Okay. And what was the damning thing that sent them to hell? I'm getting ice, but I can still hear you, so please continue.
The damning thing was he or she, I guess. Oh, that's hard to put in words. He basically betrayed innocent people, but because he couldn't lie. So with his own fault of not being able to lie, he had betrayed others, and those others had perished.
got
they didn't
got
deserve
put into a situation where
Yeah.
the truth condemned others. Okay. I like that because that's
I don't know if
very
it's treachery or something, but
very bad. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So for those of you who have 2 souls, I'll start with Nick. The last little thing. Do you feel like the act that damned him could have redeemed him? Was it an act of redemption that turned wrong, or was it an act of damnation that sent him here?
I like the first one.
So he was trying to do something so wholly good and turn his life around and change his thing, but in doing so, it went horribly wrong and damned himself.
Yeah.
Okay. I will tell you then, the last memory you have of this thing is of light. Ascension. Not the hells at all. You were destined for heaven, but there was no heaven to go to. And so you were pulled into hell. That soul feels very mad about that. There's a fuel and a fire and a burning feeling of injustice that they were done wrong. Even they changed their ways and redeemed themselves in that moment. It wasn't good enough, and they were still damned. There's a bitterness inside that soul. Brett, same question. Was that last act that damned him, was it a spiteful turn of force, maybe to save himself, or maybe to save only a few that went wrong, or was it truly a selfless act that was turned on him and caused him to do? Was it an act of goodness or an act of evil?
it was an act to save their own skin, his or her own skin. So it was an act of evil, I suppose.
Okay. So where your character strove for the light and was expecting for it, they never found it. And so they have a sense of despair, longing for something that they strived for but were denied due to their own actions. A little opposite. I like that. Cool. All right. With that, the last thing for Greg. Oh, and Brett, by the way, sorcerer. Are you trained in Arcana or no?
I'm not. So if it creates a problem, I can change.
Yeah, you can now be trained in it now.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah.
nice. All right.
Yeah. All right, Greg. What lore skills do you have?
Specifically lore, I think I just have dragon lore. It's politics, but I'd rather, or I had it fucking dragon as 1, but then I switched what my background was. Could I still have that be dragon instead of politics?
It's fine. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't think we've
cool.
used politics at all.
Exactly, and I don't think it made sense. So dragon lore is the only one I've got.
And is it expert or trained?
Trained.
It is now expert.
Sweet.
Okay. With that being said, Greg, I know this puts you at a horrid disadvantage, being at 1 hit point. So
After the long rest, I got 5.
okay, well you're about to be closer to full. There is a moment in the morning where you all smell something wonderful. It is pretty good. It smells amazing. You don't know what it is, but the small halfling empties out the last bit of the little bag she has, and there's a nice bit of looks to be actual food. Eggs, cheese, milk, things along those lines, where you're like, oh shit, this must have been very hard fought and very hard kept for the restaurant to have. You all eat a real meal, and for the first time, it's not supplemented with weird shit or weird rations or stuff like that. It's actually pretty decent and warm. Y'all are pretty much stoked about this. You'll get a +1 bonus on your next roll. Whatever it is, just a flat bonus. Greg, you forego the +1 bonus, but are healed as though you did not take 48 points of damage.
That sounds good. So when I wake up, right? So obviously I moved around, stuff like that.
Yeah,
So is this
please
like
roleplay this
bones?
out. Yeah.
Yeah. So like when I'm injured, is there blood and stuff? Is this like I had the whole like my body just started twisting in ways almost like it should have been breaking, and somehow I'm all back together now? Like what kind of?
Well, the only person who saw it was Slaw. So if Slaw wants to see how you were put back together, he can. You have no fucking idea. You feel like you just been hit by a Mack truck.
Okay.
Your body
And am I all
is
bandaged up or?
yeah. You have bandages on your head. Your head has a splitting headache. Your teeth hurt. It's like your fingernails are pain. So unless Slaw wants to say he was looking at it, you don't know.
Yeah, I was more just trying to roleplay the hurt properly. So all right, I definitely just kind of, you see me wake up, just kind of grabbing my head and just kind of still trying to grasp those last, like, your dream thoughts as they're kind of escaping you, just trying to like grab the last horrors of that, I guess, of just trying to figure out how the fuck I'm in the state I am now. And I'll just kind of sit up and just be quiet for the most part, which is shocking for my character. So
Fair enough.
As far as Slaw's participation in everyone's dream activity, I would say the only person that I was really concerned about was Ondel, and that was where my focus would have been. So I didn't pay much attention to everybody else.
I see.
while eating, I'd definitely look at our halfling companion and be like, nothing with your blood in it, please.
She smiles and says, I didn't think you were going to make it through the night. You're a lot stronger than I thought. And you can see Sleep actually has like a look on his face looking at her like, bitch, are you serious? Like, you knew what you were doing? Like, get out of here.
Yes, I think my just desperate grasps for powers might have been slightly hasty. I'll need to consider better next time.
What did you see?
I think it might be easier to describe what I didn't. What they said, those amalgams, I believe I'm one of them. Saw a great light, battle, colors. I'm still trying to put it all together. I remember seeing the faces of dragons and it seemed like specters or something that might become them. I'm not sure. But all I know is the dragons were very desperately protecting something.
Interesting.
The individuals who you call your acolytes wake refreshed and just kind of are looking at you all. And there's just grins on their face. So for the most part, like, they had good dreams, good memories while they slept. So
I see that you slept differently. Did you? And I'll just kind of notice that did you have some sort of dream? Did it work?
who was
I
it
don't
to?
really
Oh, it's
recall. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were talking to me or John.
Yeah, I meant to you, just because you were
Oh,
the one
okay.
that asked me about it. So
I remember seeing an individual that was different than the last time. He was destroying cities, laughing as there was mounds of dead. Very different, but the last glimpse I got of him was him of doing something heroic, which seemed very out of character. I'll look over at Abaddon and be like, "You are attached to me. What did you see?
He has a grin. Yeah, that was a good memory. I slept like a baby. A whelpling, if you would. It was wonderful. Oh, man. The old days. Yeah, it was good. He's just like almost orgasmic. Like, he's just like, ugh. Like, it's disturbing how happy this little fucking dickhead of a fucking familiar has been. He is very vague in his answers, but he's just like, it's from an old time. Back when I was, yeah, spry and young. Not this pitiful form I'm in now.
Do we have any idea how to get you back to where you once were?
Oh, I don't want that. My body's long dead and gone. I'm just the spirit of that old thing. I'm much rather like this form now. It's harder for me to perish. And I can still learn and consume and... well... you're going places, so I think we'll have some new experiences soon.
Well, okay.
He seems to just be like incredibly hyped for a lazy cat that's a dragon, pretty much. He's just like, oh yeah, we're going to the cat park, if that's the thing. I don't even think that's the thing. But yeah, like whatever the fuck it would be. Whatever cats get excited. Oh, there's tuna. I could smell the fish or some shit like that. He's like stoked. We'll say he's lasagna because he's Garfield. I don't know. But yeah, so it's very much that whole scenario where he's just like, he had slept well, had a good dream. Do familiar sleep? He might have just had his first sleep ever. You don't know. It's kind of a weird meta thing. What does a familiar fucking do? So.
Baby, don't hurt me. And you, on the slaw, you see anything?
I did have a vision, a memory, if you will. It was different than you both described. Mine seemed to be filled with despair and regret. But nothing that I can understand further than that.
All I saw was you twitching all night and trying to, looks like, end yourself. And as far as Ondel, he looked like how young orcs do on their first outing into their journey of manhood, the first hunt, first battle. Different tribes do it different ways. Doesn't look like you would have survived, though. Maybe that's why you got here.
Have a little more faith in me, brother.
I never thought I could have a dream worse than the things we saw yesterday, but somehow it happened.
Well, I think we could all agree that this place doesn't bring out the best of anything. Or at least, that's my interpretation.
Those lady fingers were pretty good, though.
One dragon's opinion, I suppose.
Hey, enjoy yourself while you can, as you see him, like, reaching for some fucking bacon.
It's good.
There's clearly not much to enjoy down here. You should find what little joy you can when you can. Well, unless you revel in all of this, I'm not the type.
Those are very wise words.
Is there coffee?
There's what passes as coffee in here, sure. You're not sure if it's coffee, but it's brown, warm, and It's probably has some
Represents
sort of
coffee.
caffeine in it. Yeah.
Mm, definitely having some of that shit.
I eat my fill, and then I'll look over at the two dead gods and be like, magic is dead. Magic is unobtainable here. What could give me something that lets me touch the divine?
In what way?
The magics that I'll look over at Abaddon that the two of us share seem to have something more in line with some sort of being.
So hearing you make this request, Slaw would just laugh offensively. And just be like, I don't know if it's because you're new down here or if you're suffering from memory loss or what. There's no divinity here. Not unless you're going to pledge yourself to one of these lords of the lair or of the other layers. The closest thing to divinity you have down here are going to be stories of fallen soldiers, failed clerics, and the occasional joke between the demons that you find here.
I'll slowly turn and look at you and be like, well, if it wasn't for my light that healed you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that you weren't touched by divinity. I'm just saying to find it down here, you, to quote an old cliche, it's just a needle in a haystack.
Well, that seems rather obtuse when we have two divine beings sitting at the table with us. Just because they might have lost whatever gave them their power doesn't take away what they once were.
Divinity is not sanctity, unfortunately, in this case. Although I'm not familiar or have run across any dead gods before, um, if you're here, your divinity is most likely diminished or gone.
Yes, from their story, they seem more like ex-divine, right?
I'm not quite sure. I can still. They might have lost what their powers once were, but. And I'll kind of hold on to the little amulet that I've made from Sleep's finger.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be like, I can feel it coursing through me. I can feel when my words don't just carry weight anymore. I can feel my presence is helping.
Well, divinity at that point's belief then, right? Maybe you just need to get someone to believe in you. Find whatever that divine spark of yours is and believe you're the source. Something like that. I don't know. I still don't understand all this divinity crap. Oh, my head.
It's not that I feel like I am divine. I just feel like something gave me some sort of blessing. Some throughput, for that matter.
Vesper will speak up and be like, there are creatures that can do that. I mean, the lord of this place very well could do that. He's powerful enough. His boss definitely could. I'd like to think there's creatures still. People or entities like us that still exists in the high heavens too, but I don't think there's many left. She then kind of looks sad for a second and says, there's probably some left in the gray. Maybe even Artura. If the material realm exists, Artura has to. And, well, the Great Mother has to exist still, too, for all of this to even work. But there's definitely places to draw divine power from. It's just very hard. But if you pray, worship, they'll hear it. I can still sometimes hear some of the people pray to me, but they're always next to me now. Different.
I have a question for you companions. What are your thoughts? I know it's probably late to say this so close to the wall, but this Gehenna. What if we were to take that route?
Sleep kind of just shakes his head. It's not preferable. And Vesper's like, I wouldn't do it. The acolytes are like, we'll follow you there if that's what comes to it.
I'll look over at Sleep. If you die in Gehenna, do you come back here?
Yes.
I'll look over at you and be like, this sucks. I don't want to do that.
That's a silly idea, in fact.
Well, but if we die at the wall trying to cross it, we'd end up in the same boat.
I'd rather cut a hole in that tower than go mad walking the wastelands.
He has a point. The maiden. I don't think she would have sent us to this tower if there wasn't a certain way to utilize it. And I've been scouting, and I can tell there is no in or out to this tower. There is no windows, no doors. It is a solid structure. So that means that it wasn't meant to be walked into. There must be a window, a doorway through that is not an actual doorway. Maybe that is also how divine power can sneak in this realm. Just a
we
thought.
need an invitation.
That could be too.
Or like with any creature, you just hack away at its chest till you reach its heart.
It's a wall and a tower. How do you hack at that's heart?
Spoken like a true orc. Kill the
You're
wall.
a creature who claims to be a dragon. How do you prove or maintain that belief? By doing, right?
Yes, but considering we could see the wall and tower from this distance, I could only even begin to estimate how large it is considering our current topography and the fact that I've seen a skyscraper and yet that wall seems bigger.
So
Meaning
not
that
just a dragon, but an engineer as well.
just from a time that required more advanced thoughts than your time was capable of. We had advantages, electronics, computing.
Yeah, neither of those words really make sense to any of you. Well, maybe computing, but yeah, you're like, what? Who's it? He's a witch.
Well,
Burn him.
If not up and out, then through.
I would look over at one of our gods that are there that we're speaking to.
Sure.
And kind of ask the ruler of this place, the jailer, if you will. If he's so powerful, does he not know that we are already here? I mean, most of the people we've been around can tell we are different. We're using magics in a place that should not have and hold. Wouldn't he sense that at this point in time already?
You told me yourself he sent hellhounds. You were running from them when he did this. He surely knows you're here.
That kind of coincides with my point before. I don't think we need to break in. I think the inevitable will come. He's inviting us, if he hasn't killed us already. That would be my assumption.
Bold assumption, but it could prove to be true. Vesper has the opposite reaction. He goes, he's too paranoid. He wouldn't just let you in on the chance that you might be able to kill him. I don't know. It smells fishy.
Do I know this person to use, or this creature to use the likes of mercenaries in hell in order to capture people of interest, or does he just send the hellhounds?
Sending hellhounds usually does not leave survivors. It's not a thing. These guys survive because they're fucking a cut above the rest. You don't.
Is that also the first time we even brought that up to him? I'm thinking about it.
Sleep knew because
No,
you guys.
I'm talking about Claw.
Slaw? Yeah.
Yeah.
Slaw, I think that's the first time you heard about the hellhounds. But, yeah, so actually hearing them escaping hellhounds is like, oh fuck, that's not a good thing because now you drew the ire of that. And this might be the first time you heard anybody surviving the hellhounds. Hellhounds are tenacious and crazy. The fact that they were able to get away is absurd. But yeah, continue. I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut.
Well, no, but even still, would I know of them to use mercenaries at all?
You've never even heard of him interacting with people. People ask, people like you even realize. Looking back to the last scenario you were in with the chef, you even saw they've moved and set up a place right in front of the tower and offered him all sorts of things to just try to entice him. Never got a reply. If the chef did that, other powerful groups probably have done it or done more less insane things that are probably more feasible for them to draw the ire. You also, from the thing, you know that there are people who can cast spells down here that seem to be some sort of like a dark cleric or dark wizard. They'd have to draw their power from somewhere, and if this jailer is strong enough to do that, maybe he does have something in the works. Maybe there are small agents and things like that. But you're not quite certain. You haven't heard of that stuff.
Well, regardless, if the tower is your goal, I at least have a couple of things that we can try to get you in there. But we'll never know until we're there.
Right. In that moment, the breakfast seems to be complete. You have rested and you've kind of gotten on your things. You are physically capable of doing things, Voth, but you just feel like, ugh. You just went through the ringer.
Super drained.
Yeah. No negative stats effects, just that, that malaise. But it is up to you. You can chill out here still, but you guys kind of have concluded most of the morning ritual and preparations as you were discussing things.
Seems like we will continue to the tower then.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
How hard or long would it be to move magical runes around?
I'm not super versed on the process. Does it require any special feats or anything like that, or is it just
crafting?
If it's crafting, you could. I would say it'd probably take double the time because you don't have any tools for it. Maybe. Like if it doesn't require anything special, then you guys, yeah, if you have the time to do it, you can knock it out.
The rune being transferred.
Good.
Okay, so the DC of the crafting check to transfer a rune is determined by the item level of the rune being transferred, and the price of the transfer is 10% of the rune's price.
Okay.
Unless transferring from a rune stone.
So you'd have to have money, or I would say compensation in that value range, right? So what you do in a general setting would be like, oh, I go buy the incense and the oils and the things like that to help transfer. In this case, it would be like you're doing this in the field, dark and dirty. So it'd be like I would let you slide with like, hey, we do have money. You do have actual coinage and stuff. Maybe melting it down and using that in the process would work, but it would destroy it in the process, kind of thing. Or you could use, I don't know, sacrifice things of that value and tell me a crazy way on how you transfer the runes. I'm totally okay with that too. But if you wanna do something like that, don't totally got time to do it. Like you are in no rush.
Time wise, it takes 1 day, just so you know. So.
Definitely, if you want to try to hold out here for a day without being interacted with, totally doable.
For our 2 marshals, do you guys want me to fix it? Because I mean, striking daggers, I don't see you guys necessarily using those. I can move the striking rune to your other weapons. That's why I'm asking.
I mean, if we could definitely use them, so transferring into, I'd say I'd probably go last for those if we're talking about between the 3 of us, or 3 to 4 of us. So I'd probably say I'm last priority on that.
Okay.
All right, so then it just comes down to crafting checks, correct?
I guess so. I mean, so we'll start with Brett, because Brett's got a good +1 metal weapon already, right?
Yes.
Alright, so I will work on that.
Well, and the other thing I wanted to just note as well is that I think you would know that from the first house that we entered, that wasn't from our time frame, I do have a tray of coins that we collected from this safe. So that is a shared. I'm holding it, but just know it's shared. So if you were trying to do anything,
Okay.
those would be utilizable.
Okay, let me see.
Just so you know.
I got a quick question. Do I have anything of value that is not living currency? If you know what I'm getting at.
Like soul coins?
It's for the DM to determine.
Oh,
I'm trying
sorry.
to ask for it directly.
Whoa.
Do you have anything of value that's not of direct, like, I don't know, you tell me, what do you have of value? What possible things could you have?
I am a rogue. I have all sorts of bits and baubles, and I mean, I'm not a klepto, but I am definitely...
You have taken a shit on a guy's desk out of spite. So.
Right, exactly. I definitely have attempted to steal from a variety of people who have irritated me.
Does anyone know why it smells like piss? Was that me?
It does actually smell. You guys are like, man, fucking Foth.
I say nothing. I just smell myself and go, oh shit. I pissed myself.
Yeah, you all are pretty ripe. It's not a nice place down here.
I've got that fucking that handkerchief of cleaning, so I've definitely given myself a wipe down at least.
So you're basically trying to ask me, Slaw, if you have any monetary value you happened across during other things. Did you save any money from your gear that you started with or anything like that, or no?
I mean, yeah, I just took basics. Like, I don't have any +1 weapons or anything like that. I'm just pure fury. That's where all my...
I'm just angry. That's all I am. It's fucking great.
That's my secret.
I will say you have up to 200... Well, no. What is it? I think it's... Yeah, we'll do 250 gold worth of incidental things you may have stolen that may help the party out if you're willing to part with it. It's up to you.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then if there seems to be any sort of missing piece to someone's spell work or whatever it is that they're trying to do, and it's, oh, I wish we had that one thing, I'll definitely roll to see if it's something that I have.
So how about this? How about this? For each roll that Nick does, describe one crazy object that you have that you've kleptoed off of somebody that would give him some sort of advantage, and describe what it is. So So Nick, if you're, how many checks are you gonna do for today?
I was gonna try to move the 2 striking rune. Well, so it'd be the 2 striking runes and 1 fundamental rune. So I was gonna try to give a +1 striking weapon to Griffin, a striking rune to Brett, and then I was gonna try to move the armor rune to Greg's red suit. I believe so.
Okay.
Okay. So my first roll, dun, 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 27. Yeah. It was a DC 19 to move them. And it's a DC 20 for the armor.
Perfect. So when you start messing with the armor, I think I've been down here long enough to kind of assume and know what you're doing. And I would reach into my bags and I would pull out this brilliant, shiny piece of metal. It's not dented, but it does have it is, pitted not the right word. It is formed. And I will hand it over to you because you need pieces to make pieces, right?
Sure.
Kind
It's
of.
free. It's free form, baby. Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But seeing how you're working with armor, I'll be like, I might have something that could assist you or would be good material to work with in order to improve this armor, and I will take out, and it is, depending on your perspective, it could look like a child's armor helmet. It could look like it could belong to a halfling. It's very small.
I would say it's a
And
piece of that. If you had any metal of that size, you would have been hunted and killed, and you wouldn't have that anymore.
well,
Remember,
it's a cod
small,
piece, is what
small,
it is.
Okay, a small little insert. Yeah, that works.
So I hand over this cod piece to you, and I will be like, this is from one of my very first victories here. A warlord who was, let's just say, very self-conscious with his life choices that brought him to hell, and this piece of his armor was the only thing that wasn't tarnished or rusted. He seemed to work and shine it, from what I understand, every moment, every day that he possibly could. And he was very easy to kill, quite distracted, a little cross-eyed. But this was the most impressive piece of armor that I have ever seen down here.
Okay, give me a deception check first of all, because obviously, let's just see how much bullshit that Horace believes, and then I'll add or do a 19. It definitely looks like it's useful. You could probably like kind of almost like a transfer. You'd like take the rune and put it onto the metal, and then move it over to this thing, almost like a little. You're like, ooh, it's quality enough metal. I can use this to help as a go-between. So yeah, I'll say it gives you a bonus to that roll, but you didn't need it anyway, so totally nails it. Okay, and that takes how long? Does it say how long it takes to do?
So apparently 1 rune takes a day.
Okay.
Oof.
All right. So that rune
That's for a single rune.
rune gets moved, and it's totally done. Does anybody else have the ability to move stuff? Because y'all can share the ability. No one else has crafting. I think
You
you have
said some of our companions.
one
did,
of the
so-
companions has the crafting stuff. All right, Greg, give me a trained roll in crafting.
Make it count.
And
I
which
haven't
one are
seen
you?
it.
Which one are we moving next? What was the second one that you wanted to move, Nick? I'll say you can assist this guy with doing it, and then whatever crazy stuff Slaw can throw into this one we'll add as well.
Oh,
Absolutely does not work. The guy
I didn't want to make that roll.
the guy's like, I've never done. I can build with bone and sinew and stuff. I'm pretty good at butchery, but this is well beyond.
Mm,
So
the one character I didn't take crafting on.
it's
Yep.
okay.
when he fails, I just kind of pat him on the shoulder and be like, "It's okay."
I have no idea. So bad. Okay. Throughout the day, so I mean, you're doing this process of like pulling the rune, putting it under that little bit of metal that's malleable, and then moving it and putting it on the thing. I'd say right as you get it off of the armor and onto the transferable rune, you take a quick break to be like, okay, all right, now I got this. I'm gonna set it, and then we're gonna move the rune. We're gonna transfer it over, do the thing. Right? There's a commotion out. There is a loud noise, and you can see Abaddon perk up, like he's like perked up over the thing, and one of the acolytes calls out, "There's people outside, 5 of them. One of them's very small and weird looking, and the rest look like they're ready to fight."
So you said you did the armor first, is what you're moving?
No, I did the striking rune.
Oh,
the
okay,
breast
striking
weapon.
room first. Okay, good.
So I just look over at Undal and I pull my axe that's on my belt and I just hand it to you and I'm like, "Good luck," because I'm sitting there working on your
Yeah,
weapon.
right. Yeah.
So
Yep. I'll go up to the front door. Actually, no, I would not be enthusiastic today. I would not be the first out that door. I lied.
I would be the first out. I'm kind of itching for a fight.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
wow.
Oh,
Nice.
so you start making your way towards the door. That blood rage kind of starting to. All right, here it comes. I'm gonna kill this motherfucker and do stuff. And you can just hear this little voice that is incredibly familiar to you. You know this voice. You've heard this voice. This is probably the most insane but nice thing that this place has ever had. She's a bit eccentric. She's a little out there. She's definitely a wild card, but you know this is the one and only art dealer in this place. She deals in oddities, curiosities, curios, and she has a penchant for finding beauty in anything, or calling it what it is. It's trash. It's garbage, right? But she's traded you your own gear back for stories, for high fives, like experiences. It's very avant-garde and like stupid shit, but you can basically trick her into giving you shit because she thinks, oh, it's so edgy, it's so crazy. You've been able to manipulate her before, but she's usually harmless. She travels with her bodyguards, 4 large individuals that she keeps very scantily clad, armed to the teeth, and they're, rain slicked, so she looks like she has 4 Chippendales guys walking with her.
So would it be safe to say that she's my fence?
She is one of the only reliable fences. She comes across stuff and can buy stuff. You know her as Henrietta K. Henry. She's the only person you know by a full name like that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think it's real, but she goes by it. She is probably a 3-foot nothing gnome, extremely blown out, white, like almost afro style, like big poofy white hair, a little bit older in age, definitely got the crazy eyes, and wearing just what you can only describe as dyed all black clothes. They're probably just gore slicked to the point they're black, but they're like form fitting. Like it looks like black shoes, black slacks, black turtleneck. Like it looks like stupid shit.
I would, as I approach to see the scene, I would just let everyone know to stand down and to let me handle the situation, not giving any sort of inclination that I know who it is, just walking out confidently. And then as I get closer up to Henrietta, do her guards do anything? Do they approach first, or is she basically guard down?
She, as seeing you walk forward, begins to like go, oh my god, I know who this is, and she begins to beam. Her guards take defensive stances, but know who you are as well, and kind of open up the formation a little bit to let her kind of do her thing and to let you in. But you know, if they want to, they can flip the switch and turn violent if they need to. They let you in.
So, as soon as she's within 5 feet, I kick her in the gut. Not super hard, but I kick her in the gut and just, Henry, you bitch, you shorted me 50 gold on the last piece that I brought you.
So this...
And then I reach in for an embrace.
So, give me an attack. Give me an attack roll. She's not. She's okay. The armor classes, we're gonna say 13. So if you hit this is gonna be hilarious.
He's gonna fucking crit this shit.
Crit dead. Damn.
A 13 hits
way.
exactly.
Okay, perfect. Story, fucking dice tell a story. Jesus Christ.
You punt her, and she rolls with the hit. Definitely like, oh, and then like stands on your leg and like does a little hop and like lands down, and she just goes, "Slog, you son of a bitch, come here!" And she gives you this big ol' hug. You all can hear that. He went outside like, "Let me handle this," and then you just see this poof ball, this white poof ball in black just go, wow, and then like jump and land. It's not something you expected to see in Dis. But it is very apparent, as you hear her talking, that the happiness is not true happiness. It is the tinges of insanity that have reached her that are providing her with any sort of joy or anything. But as she comes into up, like to Slaw, like, yeah, give me a hug. She grabs you and then does the kiss on both cheeks kind of thing. Like, oh, it's been how long since you bought anything from me, you son of a bitch?
I'll place her on my shoulders and I'll walk her into camp.
And she goes, look at this, boys. This is how you should treat me. Carry me around on your shoulders. You know this. And they just flank you and walk you into camp. And she's like, oh, this place is dreadful. I love it.
The taste here is a little drab for your taste, but it's grown on me a little bit.
Well, hopefully nothing else is growing on you. She just chuckles.
Not this cycle.
Not this cycle. She goes, oh my god. She jumps off your shoulders as she walks in and sees who's here, right? She sees a little dragon and she sees a guy doing fucking magic item shit right in the middle. Whoa, like there's some stuff going on. Do you have your halo out, Nick, or no? Yes or no? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, sees a halo. Yeah.
Focus on it.
Yeah. And then you have this lounging wizard who's in fucking all this like hot garb, just kind of like this monk sorcerer over here, just kind of like, yeah, just chilling. He's like, please don't be a fight, right? And then you have this half creature, and then a huge giant, and another little halfling that is just beaming as well, like kind of happy for more people to be coming to the hearth, right? As well as there's 3 very well rested acolytes in the corner, kind of going around doing stuff. Oh yeah, and you're drawing, okay? Writing things in a notebook. She hops off your shoulder and she goes, Oh my god, what have you collected for me this time, Slaw? Oh my god. What are these? Tell me tell me they're for sale. I want them.
Now, Henry, you know I don't deal in bodies unless it's to bring them in cold.
Nonsense! She throws her hands up and walks up to Voth, and she looks at you.
Careful, apparently he's a dragon.
And I'm a barbed devil. She looks at you. She just kind of looks you up and down, and she goes, derivative. And she walks over to the Halo magic using individual, and she looks at God, I can't think of Nick's character's name. Horace looks at Horace, and she goes, "Oh, that's so last age."
Fallen angel, supposedly.
Bullshit. It's so overdone here. She walks. Looks at the little acolyte who's doing things, and she's like, not even worth my time. She walks, and then she comes over to our friend Ondol here, and she goes, "Now this is what I like. This is beautiful. This is what is this? I need this. She walks up to you, Ondol, and she goes to like grab your legs and like touch you and shit. Are you gonna let her touch you or no?
I would let her touch me, I guess, but I would also tell Slaw that
What
I
is this? What is
care to introduce this person of this.
I completely ignore Ondol and I just start to describe. Now, be careful. Although he shows much orc prowess, he is only half, so you don't get the whole orc package. And I'll just give a smile and whack her on the back.
She spins and looks at you, and she's like, "Only half? Look at the duality in this specimen. It is anger and hatred and raw power and beauty and subtlety. It is amazing." She just looks at you and she goes, You're great for it, you are, darling, but this, I have to have it." She looks at you and she puts her little hand out for you to like grab and like give a kiss, like she's like, "Oh, Henrietta K. Henry, at your service, my young stud. What is your name?" If you can't flirt with your friends in D&D, where can you do it?
Yeah.
Let's just put it out there. Let's say what we're gonna say.
I would take her hand and, assuming that she would want to kiss on it, I would gently pat it and
She goes,
caress it
as
down.
you go to that, she quickly pulls away. She says, "Charmed, of course, I'm sure." And she just says, she sits down on like a little rock and then like throws her leg incredibly like over the top and then like crosses it, and she's like, "So, tell me, name."
I go by Ondal.
Oh, she's like, it even sounds brutal and pretty at the same time. Oh, this is too good. She's over the top. It's out of control.
May I ask what your role is down here? And
I'm a critic. I am the foremost in taste. I have a regular table at the Gourmand, which recently was shut down. I heard you all were in the area and that everyone was very sad. I love it. Oh, the audacity, the sheer power to walk in and close the place down until the chef returns. What did you do? Kill him? She cackles a little bit.
Well, Henry, they mainly just watched in awe as I killed him.
You're so brutal. I love it. But stop. You really killed him? She looks at the lot of you.
I would say it was a group effort, but if we're talking the last blow, I suppose Slaw had some doing in that.
Just remember, you wouldn't have gotten behind her if it wasn't for me.
I've never really had a problem getting behind anyone, as you can remember, Henry.
uh, there's a blush, and she's like, "Stop! You're airing our laundry out in front." You know what? Yes, do it. It's fun. Anyway, she turns and she looks back at the group. Anyone who can make such a statement is a friend of mine, especially in a place like this, where friends are more often enemies. She goes, I'll tell you what, I love what I see, and I love this little she goes to pinch Ondol, like, on the butt. She's like, ooh, I love this one. Ooh. She goes, I'll tell you what, I'm willing to show you some of my more delicate things, and perhaps we can make a trade, art for art. She just is eye fucking Ondol. She's like, yeah, like licks her lips, like disgusting, just, oh.
I slowly start standing behind Horace.
It's like,
and
please
pretending to help
protect
him
me.
with crafting.
Just like moving things from one pile, putting them in another, and then moving them back to the same pile. Yeah. Okay. But two of the guards come over and they flank her, and then two of them leave, and they come back with what looks to be like, like a chest, kind of on two poles, and they bring it in because it's kind of heavy, and they will set it down. And she goes, so. I want to give you all a token of my appreciation for putting that little chef in his place. His food's gotten so droll. It's been very bland and not exciting the last 2 times I went. She goes, so I want to give you a little something. And she looks at Ondal, and a little something for you, sugar. I could eat you up, literally. She's like, how much for your body? I'll buy it.
This is the first time for me. Unfortunately, I am not for sale, and I'm not sure what practices you have been doing down here with Slaw. However,
while behind Henry, I'll just air hump the air and slap an ass that's not there.
Oh, this is disturbing. I love it.
However, we are always appreciative of tokens of appreciation, especially down here. But if you offer a greater token, well, if you enjoyed us killing the chef, how would you feel about us possibly removing the jailer from his throne?
Her eyes go wide, her mouth drops open, as there's a audible, a guffaw, if you would, and she goes, an ant biting the heel of an elephant until it dies. I love it. What an impossible story to tell. I would love for that to happen.
Something to keep in mind if we're feeling generous.
Mm-hmm. She immediately spins and walks over to Voth. And then she goes, what is it that you do? What is your thing? You are one of the best dressed things I've seen in this place. I just can't abide the dude right. You look so done.
Yes, I had quite the night, and we also obviously partook of his creations yesterday, so I'm sure you're aware that can take it a bit out of you. It seems your companions probably did most of the trials for you. And since I'd kind of had that like guest book, so she said the last 2 times she'd been there, I would have kind of tracked the ones that were recurring. So can I have like one of the ones that like she did, or I would have guessed she would have enjoyed then? So what was 3 times ago?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll even say that you can kind of like make out which signature's her. It's just in Sylvan. She just writes. That's her common language that she writes in. So it's like all this flowery bullshit lettering. That's like, imagine if you wrote like crazy people like sketched in stuff, but it's Sylvan characters in that. So you just didn't understand it. But yeah, you can see it. Yeah, you'd get what it was. You just make it up, whatever you want to agree, or whatever it was.
I see that you appreciated the trials of friendship over the lover's woes and the oh god, massacre.
Massacre's so overdone. He does that every few months. It's ugh. There's no passion in it. It's just so done. And the friendship was fun. We got to make friends with the things we ate. It was wonderful. I mean, I really hated it in the end because, I really liked some of them. They were really nice. But, that's the gourmand for you.
Well, I guess he said you were a fence, and if they would have perished there, you could find them again later or something. I see. Yes, I'm sorry for this. Isn't my standard demeanor as a. I'll just kind of like motion to my outfit. I'll just be like, I usually occupy this outfit quite as it deserves, but today it's not quite there.
She leans in real close. Like she has to like climb up on something to get close to do it because she's really little. She just goes.
I actually would have kind of been like sitting in like the corner, so I would have
like
probably be more eye level with her right now.
She just like leans in real close then, and she just goes, "I'll make you a deal. You can get your friend's body for me. I'll give you something that'll perk you up. I can find him again very easily. Trust me. I just want that body. It's so good."
Do I hear any of this, by the way?
No, she's leaned in, and it's like the most intimate, tiny person whisper. I mean, I'll give you a perception check, but it's gonna be like DC 25.
So I already know he's a fucking huntsman and shit like that. So when she's like whispering to me, I already had that like little black book out. I would have like before she could kind of like get in range, because the first thing's fucking private. I'd start kind of just writing in there, be like, when you say body, I'll just kind of like point to his like air thrusting and stuff like that as like for procreation or literal dead body.
No, just the dead body. I mean, I'll kill him and then I'll have the corpse and then he'll be reborn and he can go out doing what he wants and I'll make sure he gets paid for it. You hear everything, by the way, Ondol. You hear your half elven ears pick up every word of this.
Did anyone mention that Voth is an amalgamation of special things that are unseen on the flesh level? Just pointing that out as I move further behind Horace.
So Henrietta K. Henry, who's already leaned into Voth, after you say this, she goes, "There are things inside you," and just runs her fingers through like your hair on the side. She's like, "Let me feel. What's in here?"
That's where she'll get the firm, not like throw away, but definitely just the firm push, and I'll be like, "I do not like to be touched without my consent. I would appreciate if you stopped that."
Fine. And she just like kind of gets close, not close as she was before, but she kind of leans and goes, "Offer still stands."
I'll just kind of, at that, I'll just kind of be like, me and Horace died the other day. It really wasn't the worst. I mean, it could potentially affect the rest of our time down here. I mean,
she goes,
it'd be more worthwhile than most other deaths will ever occur.
She's like, "Of course. I mean, what is even death here? Oh, it's so trite. I mean, it's so simple to just come back. It's not even a thing. We're all just dying anyway, right? Slowly and just restarting. So, I mean, it's just a little bump. It's a little...
I'll just kind of look at her and have that slow turn and be like, "Wait, you said half. It's the bottom half you want, isn't it?"
Oh, no. I want the whole thing.
Well, that's up to you. If you wish a quick dispatch, I can grant that for you. But as of today, I'm a bit drained.
I'll look at Ondol and I'll just shoot an invisible arrow and then like at him and then catch it in my chest at my heart.
She'll then walk and kind of saunter over to Horace and what he's doing, and she just runs her finger like across the
Straight
side
in
of
the
it.
butthole.
No, on the top of the items. She's like, "Oh, what is this that you're doing? This looks like some old magic-y stuff. How boring. This stuff never works. How are you doing that with your... Am I just..." And she turns and looks at her guys. She's like, "Did I eat something that would let me see things again? I must be. I love it for you, though. You look amazing. You look so radiant." She goes, "But what is this? What is this? I like these both. Those are really nice. Metal's hard to find. I'll buy it off you."
Well, when I'm done, sure. These were the gourmands. Chef's knives.
Ooh, even more. There's a story to them. Yes. And she goes,
And if she says that, I'll retract my halo.
She rubs her eyes and she's like, "Oh, must be wearing off." Like, I'm coming down. Oh, good. Bring out the good tea, gentlemen. As they open the chest and there's a small little couple things, and they start to go to make tea. And you have a sneaking suspicion it might be some sort of other kind of tea, a hallucinogen, perhaps.
I don't want any tea.
I drink it immediately.
Well, I mean, they gotta make it still, but yeah, they'll offer everyone tea, and if anybody wants it. It's probably spiked with a little something funky, but who knows? It's
I
hell.
just look at Abaddon,
Mhm.
and I'll be like, "You can drink it if you want, but
Mhm.
you can also eat her if she gets a little too touchy-feely for you."
There's
I
a
second that, Abaddon.
Do I hear that?
Yeah, probably.
Well,
Oh, if as soon as you say that, I would look at you with true dread in my eyes, and I would just be like,
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't make her mad. You never know what she's capable of.
I take that back. Abaddon, I take that back.
Abaddon then looks at you with that low growl, like, "Don't tempt me." It's wonderful. And he sulks away, and she just looks at him again. She follows his trail and goes, "Maybe I'm not coming down." Anyway, she like spins like in place and looks at you, and she kind of gets real close to you, Horace, and she goes, "You're very brooding. I like it. What do you do? Tell me your story."
I don't try to be very brooding.
And
I'll
she
kind of look at the other two, like, what should I say?
He's quite brooding. Actually, inside of him is power that is unseen. Similar to Voth, they're very, very important people in our party. I stand behind him.
I love Ondal's like push, like, please, anybody but me.
Honestly,
look at
brooding
Ondal.
is
Thank you.
brooding is an actual apt description. I wouldn't say you're the most outspoken.
Mm.
You just
I
talk louder
know
than I do.
a few things, and when I see them, I have a very discerning eye, and I have an eye for the truth. Slog, you know, about 50% of the time she does. The other half, she's batshit fucking crazy and has no idea what the fuck she's saying. So sometimes she is on board. Other times she's overboard and drowning, so it doesn't matter. But in this moment, I think I've had enough fun with that character for a minute. I will tell you what she's offering. In no other terms. One, she has a few items that she was willing to part with. She can also help you do some of your crafting. She has some ability in doing that herself. I'd let her do one of the roles to do one of the items. I'd let her do it, but you'd have to trade her something, the cost, right? You'd have to pay the cost to her. She will buy anything you have off of her. She has coins if you want coins. She also has items. She has most mundane items that you could kind of want, as well as a few special ones. Additionally, Brett, the offer does stand. If you want to kill yourself and give her your body, you will get a special reward for doing so. 100% above board, she just wants your pretty corpse. Also, I think it would be fitting for all of you to at least die once. But she does have a way of finding corpses or finding rebirth spots. That's how she finds her little her sexy boys all the time. But I will tell you right now, there will be no funny business. It's just you die and then you guys will go find your thing.
But my biggest question upon that whole piece is, if I take the death, do I still lose a piece of me somewhere, like all death does down here? Yeah.
Do you want the special treat or do you not want the? It's up to you. There are consequences to everything you do.
Didn't you need to add to your orcish story?
But once he respawns, it won't be there.
Yes, the story just begins again, doesn't it?
But you'll know it. You'll know that it's there.
Tell me once more. Looking at both Voth and Horus.
How bad was it?
How was dying again? A scale of 1 to 10, I suppose.
Honestly, I just remember that Noel's blade, and then waking up again in that sack, and my disappointment in Zerson.
And you
I just remembered to glow.
It's gonna be like, boom!
How descriptive. I would look over at Sloth and say, to kill myself for my body.
Will you roll a perception check, please?
For me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll continue my sentence with my roll, and I will say, is this customary to either the orchestrate or your friend?
You're talking to nothing.
God damn it! Where did Sloth go? You're just gone. Is that what you're saying?
I think it was one of those things where you like turned your head for a second and were continuing the conversation. You're probably watching for her to do something weird, and then you turn back to see Slaw, and he's like skulked around a corner very quietly.
Well, he's done this twice now.
The dream I had last night was worse than the death I incurred.
Yeah, the violence that was in your dream, Voth, was unrecognizable to you. It was specific and very intense.
So I'd like to take the chain and sneak up behind Yondel and choke him to death.
It's Ondel, not Yondel. And what the actual fuck?
So before this goes down, Brett, is this something you want your character? Are you going to do this for it? You don't have to. I mean, it's entirely up to you.
I think my character was hoping and looking for validation from his teammates if this is a worthwhile choice. I don't think I've gotten that. And if this guy's gonna, I mean, at this point, I might believe upon rebirth that I was betrayed. Just so everyone's clear, because it was just happening. But I'm very curious because, in a character standpoint of view, this lady seems powerful or weird in some way. Slaw told him not to talk about the
killing
stuff,
her
like
or
fighting
hurting her,
back,
yeah.
right? So I'm thinking of some sort of higher deity, maybe. What does she have to offer for me? And I am interested in that. Like, if it's simply dying, yeah, I don't want to, but I can down here. So, yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So we'll come back up. You see Slaw. He's got the chain out. He's about ready to do it. And I don't want to shit on your stuff, Griffin, but I'm gonna let you. If you're gonna do it, you can do it. But because the dice you rolled and he didn't see you. But you will see before you're about ready to spring and get him. She's just like, now it has to be freely given. I don't want a found body. I need the act of giving. I need you to give yourself to me, or it doesn't have meaning and it's trite and it's derivative and I don't like it. And so you have that moment where you can make that choice, Law. You can just be like, nope, he's giving it up, clack, and doing it, or or you can hold off. It's up to you.
Hearing her say that out loud, I'll just be like in mid
You're like,
garrot, you know.
You're like in his ear. I could have done it. I could have killed you.
Since I'm in the corner and like I can see both of them, I can see him behind him, but obviously you can't see it. I'll just kind of look. I'll be looking at Ondol, but obviously beyond him, just kind of shake my head and be like, "You have no appreciation of art, do you?"
Is that stretched to me?
I'm looking at you as far as you can tell.
Oh, I see.
But
Okay.
it's definitely a slaw, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Well,
Saw felt the eyes. You didn't.
So, Slaw, just pulling it back. You're just gonna maintain in case he gets there, or what do you want to do?
I'm just staying behind him at the ready.
Okay.
Ready.
Okay.
do I kind of get the idea he's behind me now?
You have no idea. You failed your perception check.
Okay, yeah. Well,
but you did. So you did. So I don't know what you said to her, but you are willing to. You want to know what you're gonna get out of it. Okay.
I'll say I'm curious enough, and you seem to want my body enough, which I find very peculiar. That if something were to take me right now and take my last breath away, I would let it, as long as you both. And I look at Voth and Horace. Hopefully find me and please get me out of this place. Don't leave me here.
I'll look at you like dead in the eyes and be like, I swear, I would come find you.
Of course I would. We're stronger together.
And by the time you feel the chain wrap around your neck and you feel it tightening, I'll just whisper in your ear, "It is a greater honor for an orc to die by another's hands than to take your own life."
You feel
Special-
weird weight around your waist level too, though.
Just slight.
That's,
just right in there.
That's my axe.
It's my small axe. Oh, wow.
Hatchet, if you will.
It's my hatchet. Oh, Lord Almighty. Oh, so I'm just gonna say that's a coup de grace, and you're like, if someone did, and then he does it, and she is squealing in delight. Outside, there was the red creeping hate everywhere. You all hear the pop of a birthing sack, and Ondol, you were born about 7 feet, 8 feet away from where you were.
Outside or inside?
Outside the building. There was just a ripe sack ready to go.
Well, if that is the case, I would know how to break open the sack. I would probably walk out and walk right back in, unclothed,
Yeah.
dripping in this amniotic fluid or whatever.
I need you to roll me a percentage dice, so a D100.
Okay.
And then high or low.
Hi.
Okay.
Please.
All right. With that being said, you walk over and she's looking at your corpse like, "Oh my god!" And then she hears that and she goes, "Oh no way! That's." You can see her demeanor swap from like that bubbly crazy thing to like suddenly like, "Oh no." She goes, "That never happens." She walks over to your naked body as you're standing up, covered in the gross stuff, and she pulls something out from under her shirt. It's a little, looks like a amulet of sorts. She gives it to you. "That's for you. As promised. It'll do much better in your hands, especially if you're going to do something crazy like try to get into that tower." And she very grossly kind of just like looks you up and down and then says, "I can't wait for that." And she goes right back to your corpse and starts taking off your stuff to help give it back to you. You got an item, and we'll talk about it after the thing. It is a relic. It is going to give you some powers. It has 2 gifts on it. Gifts of death and gifts of life, I think? Or it's plants, I think. I I think it's plant. Yep, plant and life. You have the Apothecary's Garden gift and the Shroud of the Afterlife gift. So we'll look those up and you can add them onto an item. Didn't really help her much, but it helped you out. Okay, so there is that. Additionally, like I said, she has things for sale, and she'll buy stuff off of you if you have anything you want to get rid of. I know you just got a bunch of shit that you might not want, and she'll also be able to help transfer one item. So we'll just say she does the roll, and she'll pass, and she could so just pick one item you want the rune transferred, and she'll sit there and do that with you. You just have to put up with her crazy bullshit for an hour or two. So.
Unfortunately, it'd make the most sense for her to do the armor, and that means that she'd be talking my ear off for a fucking hour or two.
She'd insist that you wear the suit, and she would transfer from
I know
the suit
she would.
onto. That's the only way I can do it. You have to be in it. I need to tailor it to you, because her whole thing would be fashion. That's the other art, right? So
that I can appreciate.
Yeah,
I'm also gonna note I'm wearing that fucking gaudy ass cape too.
Oh, it's amazing.
Cloak of repute.
Yeah. She comments on how gaudy it is, but then says, "But you make it work, darling." It's like one of those things where she hates it, but she loves it. Right? She's like, "What is this? It's disgusting. I love it. Give me two." You know, like I want to burn one just to see it burn. Like I don't care. She's out of control. But yeah. So if you guys have anything you wanted to sell, we'll make a list, put it in the Discord. And we'll do that. Is there anything you would be looking for, or that you have stuff you want to spend or get rid of to try to find some sort of item or equipment?
I need to look through some stuff for that. I guess I'd be curious the value of the couple things I'd want to trade. The two would be I've got that guest book that I pilfered from the.
She'd buy it. It has
exactly.
It has all the movers and shakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh God.
I'd want that, and then I'd say, or I'd so that little black book I've been writing in, that was a little like notebook or something like that, and I'll just be like, so I kind of want the book just because I do like its size and its transferability. However, the first couple pages of this are full of his most innermost thoughts and secrets known only to himself.
Oh, dirt? I love dirt. She'll buy it off you. Absolutely.
So don't know what that value is, but that's what I'm selling.
Let's see all the other stuff that you would want to sell to her, and she'll give you guys an item that is appropriate for what else you want to sell. You want to sell the 2 knives after you took the things off of them, Nick?
Yeah, after the runes, yeah. Sell the knives.
Okay, so one of them still has the rune on it, though, correct?
Yeah. I want to strip those off before.
Okay, so you can sell one of the knives. So the one of the chef's knives and his guest book. She'll buy both of those. Anybody have anything else they want to get rid of? Anything worthwhile that you don't want to hold on to, or items that you don't think you'll be using that you can trade in for something?
I would say on my sheet, I would probably, I don't know if leather armor has any value to her or that, but I do have a +1 sickle I think I would get rid of.
Okay.
If that holds any value. That's probably about it though.
You could take that +1, I think, and move it to stuff, isn't that right? Or is it just the runes?
So you could move that. I think we've all gotten our original +1s at this point, though.
The only one that doesn't is Griffin.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I don't need a +1 anything. We're okay.
Yeah. This is the twilight of the first appearance of Slaw, at least.
Gotcha.
So
okay. Then yeah, the rest of us all have +1 weapons.
Fair. So you could sell that. All right. So you had a +1 sickle, which you got from God knows where, from one of the caches you found. Okay. Anything else?
I know what I'm looking for is a spell book.
Okay.
I can't use any, like, other than the base stuff that I know is my Magus, I can't actually add anything because I don't have a spellbook. I know I can use my familiar as part of my spellbook, but
Okay.
Oh wait, no, I was going to do that, but I couldn't. Wait, was that the same fight? No, it was 2 different fights. I do have something else to trade.
Let's hear it.
I have a sack of the ashes of one of those hellhounds.
Hellhound Ash. Okay, that's something. You sure you don't want to hold on to that?
That's one of those things where I think that's what I'm kind of on the fence about, because I could see that being really useful.
It's a
but
very
it's also just
potent.
like,
Yeah, it's a very potent. It's devil. It's fiendish ashes, right? So that could be useful. But yeah, no, it's definitely worth. I will have to up what I'm giving you if you want to trade that in.
because they've got 2 elements on thought of this. I mean, yes, it's demonic ashes, but if there's going to be an ash that's going to be a little bit more plentiful in this campaign, it's going to be that. But as far as she's concerned, these hellhounds don't seem like they ever die.
They
So
eat.
I think this would potentially be the only source. I imagine it'd have a very high value.
It very much will.
So Slaw's eyes get really wide, and he starts to do his breathing exercises because he's feeling frustrated for his inner monologue because he didn't try to steal from any of you before realizing what you had of value.
Is there any check I could do to kind of, or like how obvious are you making that? Like obviously not the whole that you didn't steal it, but just the getting uppity.
My breathing exercises are not subtle at all.
Okay. I'll just kind of look up and be like, "What? Shocked the dragon has a horde."
I pay no mind to the best of my ability.
I've even thought about trying to sell her some of my scales.
I start pulling out shit out of my bag. So we've got the. I'm pretty positive no one has the Bloodhound mask, right?
Didn't take that, no.
Okay.
We left that on the table.
So I pull that one out, set that down, pull out off of my bandolier 2 of the colorful coatings, and I'll be like, I can tell you like to look nice. I still have the Staff of Healing on my back. You have that one. Yeah. So, I don't think anyone has the Focus Cathartic though, right?
Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah, so I pull those out. So the Focus Cathartic, the Colorful Coating, and the Bloodhound Mask, and I set those down. That I can part with these.
She's like, oh my goodness, these are all very interesting. They do things?
Yes.
Tell me what they do. I'm sure you explain them to me, correct?
Yeah.
Alright,
I take the
so,
time.
Nick, give me a wisdom, or no, a will, perception. Give me a perception check.
Okay.
You listened to the other things, the talking up of all these things that people have been handing in. She loves the story. She loves the bragging rights of saying how she got it, right? Do you just hand the things and tell them what they do, or do you try to talk them up?
I try to talk them up, and I try to use my dark, brooding, over intense, intimidating tone.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a performance, and I'm just going to give you advantage because you're literally playing into exactly what she was like, oh, you're so brooding. So, I like it.
Perfect.
So just roll twice and we'll take the higher of the two.
Okay, because performance is untrained as fuck. Here we
And
go.
that's fine. It's funnier to see
we go.
you trying to talk this shit up than anyone else. You're like, we got this in a deep, dark... Oh. So you want the 6 or the 2?
I guess the 6. I was trying to shoot for my intimidating, which she would feel my aura.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was trying to get.
You don't think intimidating her, that would be more like you're gonna buy this shit because you fucking are gonna do. I mean, you could try that if you want, but I was gonna say you picked up on Voth's like, oh, this is hellhound ash. She's like, oh my. And then you picked up on the, I got this sickle in the gourmand in the sous chef's fucking chamber. We found it in a hidden trap there was a halfling in a treasure chest that popped out, right? Like, oh, I want that. That's great. That's a story. So you were picking up on that. If you want to try to intimidate her, you definitely can. I was just giving you that check because you might not have noticed it.
Also note, at least in this, if you're going to try to intimidate someone, unless you've got something that says otherwise, they become unfriendly to you afterwards. So.
Well, she's
like
also
tiers of
insane.
I wasn't trying to
so-
scare her. Yeah, I was more so trying to make it like how badass we are.
That's
Like,
performance.
Suspenseful.
That's
Yeah.
definitely performance and not intimidate,
Okay.
though. Yeah. So
All right, well then I'll take my 6.
yeah, you thought it was awesome. You're like, yeah, fuck
Sounded
yeah,
good.
we fucking we killed him so hard. He was so killed.
And we're talking about the chef items.
Most of the stuff that he has was from Zip,
Yeah.
but
So, anything that I have, or anything that I was witness to them having or receiving, I will definitely assist in pumping up the story.
give me a performance check then. I like that.
Oh, sure. I'm so glad that I chose to be proficient in performance.
Could I also do the same?
Interesting trait for.
We'll see what he does because he had the idea. A 21. You're still just to me, but a 21 is what he rolled. You look like you're like, all right, I can see what he's trying to do, and you go to like help out Voth, but she's already enraptured by Slaw's like, of course I'll take them all. Oh
I'm
yes.
feeling tired anyway.
Yeah, you're a little poopty doopty over there. Okay, so in exchange for these items that you don't want, I'm going to give you a group item, and then you can all have an item of your choice. Nick wants a spell book, right? I'm not going to give you just a spell book since you guys traded in so much stuff. There's going to be some spells in it. So I'm going to say, why don't you roll a D10 and a D6. There are 12 spells plus 2 cantrips of your choice. And they can be first or second level spells. And that's very expensive. That's probably like half of what you guys got. What else did you want? What one item did you, or what kind of item are you thinking of, Greg? What does Voth want that she might have?
That's where Greg doesn't know enough about fucking Pathfinder to know what items I want.
Well, don't think.
Yeah.
Don't think about it in game terms. What is Voth? What if Voth could have something right now? What would Voth want? And if it's not like so good, we'll fucking church it up. Because you guys are getting rid of a lot of wealth. You're gonna get it back. And if you know what you want, Andal, you can jump in while he's thinking too. Slock, you're more than welcome to grab something too if you want.
No, I'm good. I don't want to take from anything, and
Shit.
if any,
She would give you something, but we'll just say it's of not too much consequence. Actually, you know what she's gonna give you? I know what
Well,
she's gonna give you.
and I would say that Henry knows what I want, and that's my ticket out.
That's exactly. She's gonna be like, I already have what you want. I know the next time. I know. And I'll let you take it this time. I'm having fun down here. Plus, I got a bunch of new toys.
I'll just smile wide.
Andal and Voth, what items are you looking for? What one thing that you could have? Anything you want. What would you want?
Two things come to mind. Obvious, but nuance at the same time. Power and information. We're trying to get into the tower, but every story we've told, there's no discernible route there. You seem to be one well-traveled. Do you know of somebody that could either give us a hint, or do you know a way possibly in? the power, some sort of like accessory, like a ring or something like that would be cool. I have no idea what it would give me, but something like that would be cool.
She says, I think I have something that might be useful for you, but you can only use it once. She pulls out a scroll. Nick, she pulls out that the book for you, and I'll let you describe what it looks like, so you can figure out whatever it wants to look like. Just note that whoever wrote in the spell book before has used up like 4 pages damning this place and saying, fuck this, all this hard work for nothing, I can't even use my magic now, I'll just hold on to this, and then eventually at the end of the thing says, I'm gonna do it tonight, I can't stand to be here anymore. It must have been this wizard or witches or whatever's first time here, not knowing they respawn. So he killed himself and left his shit there, they never found it. So there is just, so all those pages are filled, an additional 4 are filled, you have the remainder of the page to add whatever you want.
Okay, cool.
And there's 100 pages for spellbook, so. Alright, so you want power or that, she hands you a scroll. It is basically like a one-time, yes, signed Andrew. It is a one-time use thing. It's just a spell scroll, but it's of scrying, so you could.
Oh, nice.
It's a lot higher than what you normally can cast, but I'm pretty sure you could flub it with use magic device, and we'll just say there's a hefty bonus to make sure it lands. So I'll just basically, you get the scry spell one time for free, without too much trouble. We won't even make you roll on that. So you can find out information and possibly gain power with that. Because not a lot of people have. She just is like, I heard what it does, but I have no idea how to make it work. I don't even think it does, but I love the idea. I love it for you. Here you go, honey, and she gives it to you. And then Voth, she goes, you've already given me so much, and a deal was a deal, but I can't help but give you something too. What's something that Ondol wants? I meant to say Ondol.
Yeah, I got the.
He wants to be a real orc.
Shut the.
I'm the most memorable, I understand.
Yeah,
Your name's just the one that I remember the most, because it's simple. Which is funny, because Horus and Ondol are not hard names to remember, but...
they're just different,
Yeah.
Okay, so because I recently have a new founding to the Arcana, because I'm trained in that now, I feel like I would want something that lets me explore magical power. Being, not used to that as my commonality, maybe I'm looking to expand to that, so I don't know what can be offered behind that, but...
Nope, that's not cool. I don't like that. She has, probably from the same group of items that the spellbook was from. She has a small worn ring that has some weird signet on it. She said, this might help. And if you put the ring on, it'll let you cast Detect Magic once per day. And what's the cantrip version? Is it Read Aura or whatever it is, or what is it?
Detect Magic just detects the magic in the area. Read Aura actually tells you what kind of magic.
And they're both cantrips?
Yeah, both are cantrips.
Then you have both of those on a ring.
Oh, sweet.
Awesome.
And I'd say since
Those
they're
are the same
cantrips, you can just do them. It's not once per day. It's just it'll give you access to 2 basic cantrips. Just like a little acolyte's ring.
Pretty good.
Yep. So, especially for somebody who doesn't have any ability to detect magic in that thing, now he has that ability. So you get the Detect Magic and the Read Aura magic. These cantrips, you can spam them at will. All right. And lastly, she says, "And for all your troubles, I'm gonna give you this." And she hands you all a bag. It'll fit a lot more than what it looks like. It's useful. She gives you a Type 2 bag of holding. It's, I think, 50 bulk that you can stuff into that thing.
There's types in Pathfinder?
Yep.
Yep.
Bag of holding Type 1 is up to 25 bulk. 2 is up to 50 bulk. 3 is 100, so on and so forth.
I'll look at Voth and be like, I know your hoard can get very big. Don't lose it.
What's a small bag gonna? And I'll just kind of. Oh.
Now, the thing is, this bag is very gross looking. It just looks like a sack. It's not fancy like the other ones, like a velvet drawstring. It's not like fancied up. It's dirty magic. It's there. But it's very plain and often overlooked by a lot of people. Because if you had a fancy bag that people knew could hold a lot more than it had on the outside, they'd probably try to steal it. But unless you really needed maybe a little bit of gross to it, yeah. But unless you really needed a sackcloth kind of like or a little carry bag, most people just discard that. So she can always go back to her corpse and pull it off. And hide a lot of shit in there. You have no idea where she got it. You don't want to ask. But
This is like the bag that Zeri Zoppins had in a story from my time.
Zery's all right. And with that, your time with Henrietta K. Henry is drawing to a close as she eventually leaves and leaves you guys in a whirlwind of confusion, excitement, and worry as you don't know exactly quite what just happened, but for some reason, the slaying of the chef summons somebody happy. The last thing, though, she does say is she goes to Slaw. She looks at him and says, "Darling, I hate to pull you away from your friends, but the next one's coming very shortly. Actually, on the way. I do owe you. Would you do me the honor of accompanying me to it?"
Yeah, I will definitely go. I need some space from this place. Hopefully a lot longer than what I had last.
She holds your hand, she pats it, she's like, "It's not so bad, you'll get used to it." And then unless anybody has any parting words for Slaw looks like he's about ready to go with this lady.
I'll kind of point at you for a moment and be like, well, when you're done with your vacation, would you like us to figure out how to summon you?
No. Because you guys look like you're going to be into some stupid shit that I want nothing to do with. But if you need the help, or at least you need someone to get real angry and absolutely destroy everything within front of his face, you can give me a ring.
He's like,
I'll extend my hand for a handshake.
I'll definitely shake your hand.
and firm handshakes. Nice. Yep.
What would you like for an attack roll to try to cut off one of his fingers?
Just this, what are you attacking with?
My other hand. I'm just gonna use my cantrip so that I just grow dragon claws out of my fingertips and just try to cut his finger
Give
off.
me an attack roll with the dragon claws then.
All right.
I know I've deserved this, but the betrayal.
The betrayal.
The putter there
happening?
takes
Yep.
finger.
Use the attack roll.
When in hell, right? Oh, solid.
27. Yeah.
Nope, it misses. No, of course it hits. Yeah.
Damn.
Even with the called shot, like -5, I think that's still your armor class is 22, right?
No, it's 20.
Yeah. So yeah, you almost critically do. You definitely called shot his pinky finger, easy one to nip off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just.
Yeah.
Slaw, you feel the pain of one of your fingers being excised off of your hand. Tell me how this scene goes.
So after we shake hands and we're kind of like parting, that's when my other hand just goes real fast for your finger and just cut your finger off, and I'm going to catch it with my other hand and I'll just wink at you. And then I tuck it into the pouch that I've got.
I'll rip it away and grab it like, ah! This is why we don't make friends down here.
She
And
laughs.
I'll
There's
just
a cackle roll on the ground, literally rolling on the ground, laughing from her.
I'm just breathing as heavy and as controlled as I possibly can. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I was gonna
Likewise.
say something, but after that, I feel upstaged at this point. I'll just say good luck. Remember, I don't think you respawn in other places, so don't die.
I'll go to shake his hand as well. Mm,
I'll reach for the the hand that's not bloody now.
Um, I'll shake your hand and just give you that stern nod,
Mm.
and then I'll look over at Ondo.
As you look at Andal, you'd see him start to flex
Yeah.
very hard. It has been a journey.
It's the
He
best.
looked at him and he looked at her.
I'll walk up to Ondo and I'll also flex and um, maybe you'll make a good orc yet. And I'll go in for the hero's clasp and just give him that. And are you reclothed at this point, or are you
Yeah,
still a
he's
fresh
had time.
baby?
It's been a couple hours since any of that went.
Okay.
Baby smooth skin. Well,
Okay.
if she moved that rune, that would have taken most of the day.
It would have.
So.
Yeah, it's been several hours, so.
I'll come in close and kind of give a hug and be like, you need to work on your presentation. I thought you were a female this whole time.
I knew
And-
it.
And I'll never forget your name.
And that'll be it.
Okay.
Let's
You.
look at Horace. I feel like you owe me gold or something.
I agreed with you. I just didn't know what peacocking meant until you explained it to me earlier.
All right. So we will do a little aside as you are walking with Henrietta. You're making your way out to the thing, and she says, "Should you be just out here? Have fun. You gotta find me when you come back and tell me all the things. And remember, you have to eat food. Sleep is needed. I don't know what's going on there, but there's a lot of things you're gonna have to figure out. Okay, you got this." She says, "And after this, we're even."
Until you owe me again, or I owe you.
She's like, "Oh, I can't wait for you to owe me." And you guys walk a little bit away, the four guards watching. And off in the distance, you guys will see what is only described as a pillar of fire from the dark clouds above split the sky, blast the rain, and intense heat. This is a red-black, almost like this. It's an unnatural looking fire. It is called down and it strikes the ground in a violent noise that calls your attention. And as soon as it's there, moments later, it's gone. For you, Slaw, what you see is called down. In front of you, there is what looks to be some sort of magic circle that appears on the ground, immediately bursts into flame, and both that flame and the flame from the sky meet right in the middle and ignite that entire column. And for a moment, you can hear everything start to scramble your direction. And Henrietta just looks at you and says, "This one's yours."
I pick her up and give her a quick peck on the cheek, and till next time.
She's like, "Oh, you, get out of here, you big glug." And she socks you in the shoulder. And you set her down and you step into the thing and you awake into an interesting scene. It's not raining. It's warm. Like real warm. So warm. It's so good. The room is dark and there's candlelit things. You find you're in the body of... God damn it, that's an elf. 100% elven flesh. As you look around, there are several other individuals standing here. As you're looking up and seeing that pillar of like red light start to dwindle, and you can see your shape, kind of as a shadow, almost demonic looking figure disappear. As you can see, you leave behind that body, and your soul is now inhabiting this poor summoner who you've possessed, and now you have a meat suit to run around in until it expires. Slaw gets a vacation. So that is where we will part ways with Slaw for a bit, but obviously he's always welcome.
When
Plenty of ways to have him come back.
when I realize I'm in the elf suit, I just
Son
give
of
the
a
Geralt fuck.
Which is funny
Perfect.
because as the whole column comes down, and I imagine we're a little bit in the distance, they'll be like, "Son of a bitch, we could have just asked for that. What's the point of going to the tower if we could have asked for that?"
I don't think that's permanent.
No, it's not.
Bullshit.
She's like, there was a door out. You didn't tell me. No, you just basically you get to walk around on the balcony for a little bit. You have to come back in though. But I will give you one last bit of information, and it might be good if Slaw comes back. Let me just give it to you as I check my notes. Oh my cripes. Where it starts. I will give it to you after session because I need to figure out and I want to give it to you. It's the name of where you're at. You would know that way when you come back. If you do come back, if Slaw comes back, he would be able to give them a hook or at least information on maybe the next part of the game. So we'll see.
All right, and do I tie it with this note that you sent me that says Greg is BBEG?
Don't fucking say that shit. Greg, you didn't hear that. Greg, shut up. Can't hear. You can't talk. Stop listening. No, I did not send that. It's obviously Brett is the big bad evil guy. So
No, don't put this on me.
he had the nice guy who turned evil. Therefore, he is the evil one. Checkmate. Of course, got him. Anyway, I think that's a good place to call it. Unless you guys had any last little things you wanted to wrap up.
No,
That's a good spot.
Right. Calling it at midnight. Hell yeah. All right. For those of you watching, appreciate it. For those of you catching it on the VOD, also appreciate it. If you have questions, there's clicky shit below. Have fun. I know I had some questions, not last episode, but the one before that. I think we all got them answered, so it's really cool. We'll catch you guys next time, and have a good night. Boop-a-doo, muting that shit, turning off my shit.